Okay. All right, guys. Sorry about that. How's everybody doing? Good? Good.
Good.
Good. Dude, I love Loom, but I hate it as well sometimes. Like it'll randomly log you out. It's the most right? It is
Dude,
the most
just happened. Like I had a sales call at 5 and it logged me out like right before. Just happened.
there's no permission. There's no like, hey, can we like it's just random as hell. And like, I haven't even told you this. I've been like trying to figure this out, but like I will because I have access to Amon's Loom, so I can like kind of have access to his calls and everything. And so I will get randomly logged out of my stuff and logged into his, and then from his to mine, it is just a whole thing, bro.
Oh shit.
Yeah, man. It's a little bit frustrating. Um, anyways, hope you guys all had a great weekend. Hope everybody's doing well. MJ, Aman, Dan, Daniel, Adam. We got a full house today, so I'm excited for everybody here today. Um, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? So today is kind of like a unique call. We've got some newer guys here today, and then also like this is Tony and Adam's last day, and those guys have just done a fantastic job, and so I wanted them to chime in. For those of you guys that are a little bit newer, really there's like three things I'm trying to help you guys do. Like for the first 3 months, it's like launching the client acquisition funnel and closing a deal. Two, so Tony and Adam were able to do that. Two, they closed a gym owner, and then they just got that gym owner to sign up for 3 months, and they got them so amazing results, right? They got them leads and sales, so bang on. Third, they picked their niche and they shot their ads, got the funnels locked. They're getting freaking book calls, like some for like $30. Like it's insane. And so they've been able to accomplish all this within 3 months' time. So I just wanted to, for Tony and Adam to hop in and just kind of like share words of wisdom for some of you newer guys, like MJ, I'm looking at you, like for example, for people like you, I thought that'd be cool for you guys, as well as some of you guys that have been here for, a few weeks, Dan, Daniel. So that being said, what I like to do, guys, just to kind of get things started in traditional fashion, is everybody, let's please give our time and energy and attention to MJ, who has just hopped in, and just allow him to introduce himself, and then from there, we can kind of give him some advice, and or I think it might be a good thing is just like hopping right on into, kind of hearing from you, Tony and Adam. That might be a good side. We'll just kind of see how things play. But MJ, I wanted to hand things over to you, man. Please introduce us. Who are you? What brought you here? What are your goals? And then one question that you wanted to ask everybody, or maybe just Tony and Adam. Stage is yours.
Thank you so much. I am MJ. Full name is Mfoni Sobasi James, but yeah, kind of a mouthful. So MJ for short. Currently, I work as an IT professional out here in Canada. I do also on the side, started like my video production company, and I, found Koshik through the Facebook ads and whatnot, and so I joined because I thought that the proposition in terms of being able to, build a funnel and, figure out the marketing side of things was probably where the industry, should be going to. And I guess the question that I have for everyone would be, what has been the most difficult part for you all in terms of like your journey so far with the process?
Solid question. Thank you for introducing yourself, MJ. Who here wants to? I think Tony and Adam, you guys have so much that we can share all in kind of like one go. Does somebody else maybe want to chime in and kind of share like what has been a very big challenge for them, through and through? Like maybe Aman, for example, like is there something that you've kind of found over and over again? This has been like a big challenge for you, or like one thing you have to really get over. Is that kind of what I'm hearing? MJ is like, what is that biggest like devil that we have to fight at this stage to find? Okay, Aman, do you have something like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing you'll hear quite a bit is, and I feel like everyone hears this throughout their journey, is to be proactive and not reactive. And so There's gonna be a lot of times, at least for me, the hardest thing was just like, oh, I don't have what I need to get on these calls because, I don't have the experience, or don't think I can take on this client because I don't know if I can help them. And so there's just a lot of things that we try to like stop ourselves from doing. And that's, I think, the hardest part is like getting on these sales calls, like trying to explain the system where you don't even know if you fully understand it yet. And by trusting like the process and by just kind of going through it, hopping on, putting yourself in these situations, you really learn a lot about everything, like about yourself, about the business, about the system. Like you really learn by just getting in the weeds and going through it. And so I'd say, I mean, for all of us, I think we're videographers. So I think everyone struggles with like the sales, everyone struggles with, what to say or how to come off and stuff. And we all learn by just being thrown in there and just by going through the process. So I don't know if that's helpful, but I feel like it's probably what's on your mind in terms of what you think is going to be the hardest thing. And just know, like, we all are going through this together. So.
Thank you for that, Aman. If I and correct me if I'm mistaken, Aman, if in term like what I took away from that is kind of like, there's a proven path, there's like a framework. We say, hey, step one, do this, two, three. But then as you're kind of doing the thing, you're like, I'm doing it, but I'm not sure I'm doing it the right way. And I'm not sure like, all the things like I kind of see Kushi showed me this dance move and here's how it goes. And I think I'm doing it right, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Um, and then as time progresses and you kind of like get more familiar with your body, you see yourself in the mirror, you see other people look around you and smile like, oh, I think I'm getting it. I think I'm doing it the right way. Is that kind of maybe like what you mean? Like, and that'll kind of happen over and over throughout the whole process, week after week, month after month.
Yeah, exactly. Just not feeling like you're ready yet, and then you just realize you're a lot more ready than you think you are.
yeah. Everybody's ready. And when I say everybody's ready is like you're never going to be 100% there. It's foolish to think you will, but you're always ready enough that if we throw you in, you're going to do reps and you're eventually going to figure it out. And that's why we have each of the stages, each of the phases. MJ, does that help a little bit in terms of your question, man?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. That was really good.
Yeah. Guys, I want you guys to know something crazy about MJ. This guy's insane. This guy, he goes to sleep at like 9 o'clock and he wakes. MJ, you should have told him this. I'm gonna go and tell him for you. This guy, he goes to sleep at 9 p.m., wakes up at 12, 3 hours. He, does some stuff that he has to do for, spirituality purposes. After that, he does a little bit of work. He goes back to sleep and then he wakes back up at what time, MJ? Like 3 or 5?
Yeah, like yeah, five-ish, 5, 6 at the latest. Yeah.
And then he just go, and that's every day, man. This guy's a freaking machine. So I just thought I wanted to share that. That's one thing that I found very impressive. So hard work is not something that this guy does not know, is not used to. So just want to share that really quick. MJ, was there anything else that maybe you wanted to ask before I kind of handed things over to Tony and Adam?
So I guess like in terms of like the finances for others too, as they are, I know I was reading someone's comment just before the call about maxing out their credit cards and trying to make sure that everything was in terms of building the funnel and running everything. How do you guys find like managing the financial aspect before you had gotten your first deal or landed that client, and you still had to make sure that the machine and the systems were running to get to that point?
Tony, Adam, I guess that could be a good one for you guys.
Cool. That's a good question. Welcome, MJ. Nice to meet you. Um, I mean, it's a struggle, I think that the more you can have, and if you have a full-time job at IT, just know that you're probably going to want to allocate some of that money that you're getting from there to your funnel, especially once you get into the niche, because we're spending more than we ever have getting those clients for our niche funnel. But it's like wildly rewarding. We have like 4 every single day that are qualified. And it's really cool too, because it's different than the free video funnel that you first launch when you get a lot of leads that kind of aren't qualified. We've only had like 2 people that didn't qualify out of like 20 so far, which is really cool. Um, And that's one thing that I kind of wrote down in our like what we've learned so far, is that we had to make those sacrifices. We had to like I was basically really conscious about taking smaller gigs that didn't have like post-production on the back end, meaning I didn't have to edit anything. And if I did have to edit, I would sub it out to somebody else. So for like the whole 3 months, I basically did that. And that probably like cut into my bottom line some, but it added to my time, and you're paying for your time, right? You're paying for your time here. So, you might as well get the most out of it. And it's kind of that old adage where you're like, stepping over a dollar to get to a dime, you might be making more money in the front end in that way. But like if you can make the sacrifice now, just kind of live lean while you're on this 3 month journey, then I mean, you're gonna see a profit and you won't worry about it anymore after that. And it's gonna feed you for life, like Kaushik's thing is like, you know, give a man a fish to teach a man a fish. You probably know that adage, right? Of like giving a man a fish, he eats for a day, and teaching a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. And right now, like our funnel's working right away, our niche is working, like people are really responsive, they want to work with us. And it's like, it took a long time to get here, but yeah, I mean, just stay tight as you can. Be willing to put your daytime job money into this, and it'll pay back in dividends, I guarantee it.
Does that help a little bit, MJ? The main thing I kind of took away from that I feel like can apply to you in your case, MJ, just based off our personal conversation, what's kind of going on in your life is, the big thing is, as I said, and I say to everybody, like, don't take on marketing jobs, don't take on big jobs. Again, with that medical spa stuff that you guys have going on, literally, like Adam and Tony, the exact same example. And he's going to go over it. He had like a dentist that he could have sold, decided not to, and I know he's so glad he didn't. And so it's just like those kinds of actions are stepping over pennies, stepping over dollars, trying to get pennies. If those kind, it might not make sense, but it's true, because one day you'll be in the position that Tony and Adam are in, where you're just having your calls booked and you just have your pick. You're pretty good at sales. Like, you write your own paycheck. It comes down the road. It's worth it. But I'm going off tangent a little bit. But the main thing is just like living tight, and then two, for extra cash, if you want to take on some additional things, take on some additional things that don't require crazy amount of like production, editing, all that stuff. It's like, go in, easy shooting stuff, get paid a few $100, can it off, and boom, you're good to go. Like, those kinds of things make sense. Anything you have in your life like that, like simple video stuff, maybe a website, doesn't, whatever it is, simple things, we can get some easy cash to keep afloat. Because these 3 months, you want to be thinking about it that way. These 3 months, you don't want to be thinking like, and everybody's different. Sometimes we'll have people that will close crazy deals. Everybody's a little bit different, but these 3 months, you really have to be thinking like, I'm building skills and I'm getting by, and I just need to keep my sanity. And then eventually you'll get to Tony and Adam's stage, I promise.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Okay, guys. So question, before we dive a little bit deeper, who in here is maybe in a rush?
I have a sales call at 9.
That's a good problem to have, aside from Tony and Adam having that problem. Anybody else have anything like immediate they have to get going, or they're in a rush? Okay. All right. Well, today's gonna be a good one, I think. I wanted to go ahead and pass it over to Tony and Adam. Tony, Adam, like, however you guys want to do things. I read over that document. I think it's up to you how you want to do it. I thought what could be good is just like, some of the guys I've seen like your entire journey, but some of the guys I've only seen part of it. I feel like what could be good is just like maybe a quick 3 to 5 minutes of like, this is how things started to where we are, like step by step, so they can follow the journey. And you can go as far back as 2020 if you want. And then like maybe we can just go through that document. If you can share the screen and just kind of elaborate on each of those things, that might be good for everybody, I think.
That sounds good.
Cool. So you guys can go ahead and share your screen, whoever wants to take it. If you guys want to share your screen, if you just want to kind of talk to camera and then share your screen.
Yeah. Well, I think I looked back just because I was actually in a position where I needed to like send someone a DM with a voice message. So I looked back to our first transmissions between me and Kaushik, and it was June 2020, right after the pandemic hit. And we had just lost 90% of our business. We're like event-based, video-based, right? We're doing a lot of live concerts and conferences, and that all went away. So I scrambled, I bought some crypto, which was really smart. And then I also like looked at ways that I could kind of get around this pandemic and not rely on stuff like that. Um, so, I really didn't do much with it because, hey, sorry, my dog just got here and my wife. Um, they're bringing me food. By the way, I just want to point out, Rachel has brought me food, probably like
Hey, Rachel.
80 to 90% of our calls. The person bringing me food is Rachel, and I really owe a lot to her as well for all of her support. But basically, long story long, like I got some really good gigs. MJ and whoever else is still listening, like I basically got in with Mr. Beast, and I was like, okay, I'm cool, I'm made. And then I worked with him for a few years and made a lot of money and decided to like get back into Hendy Street. There's a lot of things about Mr. Beast that are cool, but there's a lot of things that aren't cool, right? It's a lot of kids with a lot of money that don't really care about anybody else, and it's not really what I got into this business for. So we decided to start on our own in August, and that was August of 2023. We really, me and Adam, Adam and I have worked together in video production for a long time, probably like 6 years. He moved away to San Diego, got a bunch of really good experience at a video studio that was also offering marketing. So he already had all this really great knowledge. He was working with like LinkedIn leads and making like quick content for people, had like a lot of experience with subbing stuff out to other countries in terms of editing. So like he brought on all these great things, and I was like, this is the time, let's do this. I bought this course a long time ago, and we started in August, and it was challenging. We went through it, we learned a lot, we took a lot of notes, we made our master plan, and by the time we got to like December, somehow coaching came into our like idea, like let's try this. Maybe I saw an ad. I don't even remember exactly how I got to that point, but it seemed like the right thing. And I can tell you, like, what we were doing for that 6 month period on our own has like nothing to do with what we're doing now. And it's not that the course is bad, it's just there's so many ways to interpret it. And like if you can interpret it the right way and why it's happening, I think that's the win. So I mean, we've made just so much more progress in this 3 months than we did in the previous years, and I'm super thankful for it. Like Koichik said, we ran the FVC funnel. I think we had about 18 days under our belt till we closed. We did about 100 leads, which I think is a lot. Like I think most people that are running those in that time period maybe only get 50. So I think we were really lucky to get that many people. It ended up being a gym, which was really good. And they're still our client 3 months later. We niched down to dog grooming, and that's really working well. I think that it's got a lot of promise, and I'm really stoked for it. So yeah.
Sweet. Thank you for that. I think we can go into I think it was like 10 takeaways.
Yeah. Adam, you want to wrap while I pull that thing up? Do you have anything to say?
Tony pretty much covered our history. So yeah, we've chosen dog grooming as our niche. I kind of forget what inspired that. I think it's just the fact that Tony got a dog recently, and he has a pet groomer that he takes him to, his dog to. So yeah, we've just been giving that a shot the past few weeks. I haven't been much help as far as discovery calls or sales calls for this particular campaign because I'm working like 30 hours a week at a day job that sucks, but I'm almost done. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're at now, is just trying to close these dog groomers and let us get some leads for them. I'll let Tony go into some of these leads that we have later on. Because Koshik, I think we have a couple questions we'd like to run by you. Just trying to perfect our offer and make sure our offer is where we want it to be. And I think it is, but yeah, I'm kind of going off tangent. But yeah, Tony, do you have that document pulled?
Yeah, and I just want to say the way we got to that was a weird way. We went into this thinking we were going to target dentists, PTs, and chiropractors. One of those three was our niche. And then we had that opportunity in front of our face that wasn't a close for a sales funnel. It was $6,500 paid in full to run sales funnels for a dentist. And Koichik was like, don't do it. And I didn't really get it. I'm just like, what is happening? Like, not only do I have to shell out money for this course, but I'm saying no to $6,000 in front of my face. But we did it anyway. It was a really good decision. I didn't quite understand why I was making that decision, and that's one thing that I can give to everybody. I know Aman already kind of knows this, and Daniel probably too, but like half the time we did the things we did, we didn't quite know why until afterwards, and there's a reason behind the season for pretty much everything Mason and Koishik give us. And that was one of my big like 10 things. Let me see if I can pull this up. Hopefully this is the right thing. Okay, I should be sharing now if you can give permission.
Yep.
Cool. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Sweet. So this is something I just kind of put together this evening, like when we found out we had to wrap a little bit longer than normal. And we owe it to Koishik and Mason because they've done us a great deal of work on our back end. So this is like our version of like helping them out and getting them, something back because they've given a lot to us, I feel like. And again, like probably like a couple of you guys already know this, but it may be good to hear again. So 10 truths about CMC that we learned over the past 9 months. The first thing is getting it done perfectly is not an option. Getting it done, then perfecting it is. And that was like one thing when we like joined the course. I was like ready to re-record all these videos, and like we had this cool setup in the background. Like we were ready to hit the red button and like redo our thing. And Koishik was like, dude, you don't have to do that. And like our first day in, everyone's like, no, 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 don't do it. Like everyone was like on the same page except for us. And I was so confused. But now I totally understand because, it took us a long time to get our niche funnel recorded, edited, and looking good. And if we were to do that with the FBC funnel, it would have been just a full-on waste of time and waste of money for us. So getting it done, then perfecting it later. I'm going to hopefully keep that mantra going on with us throughout this journey. And it's pretty much the same thing. Jump in and learn later. Like as videographers, it's kind of backwards because you would never like go to a set with like an RA camera that you've never used before and claim yourself as a DP. But in some cases, that's what we're doing here. And I think that it just kind of accelerates the process. It throws you into the fire and you have to just kind of adapt, instead of just like making everything perfect and then doing it, which is kind of the way I've been doing it in my own mind, at least, is like I've been getting everything right, building out the system and then executing it. And half the time that system's ready and executable, it's no longer valid, right? It's like already been done a bunch of whatever. Number 3 was say no to hard gigs, or sorry, say a hard no. I read that incorrectly. Especially ones with post work, like I was saying, with editing. We mostly only took jobs that we could shoot and hand off a card or just subbed out the edits. So I probably have taken a lot less than I normally would over the past 3 months, and I don't regret it. And I wasn't in like a great financial situation, just to be honest. Like I just stuck it out and, lived a bit more impoverished than I wanted to, and just believed and worked my ass off to like get to this point. And honestly, something to be said about when you're really hungry, you work harder to make money. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like the fuel for the fire to be like, all right, well, we're at rock bottom now, so we have to work our butts off to get out of that. So try your best not to take on too much. Don't worry about how your current client database sort of or following is viewing this endeavor. So that was like a big thing. We have like Handy Street Productions, which is our video company, and we sort of just split off and made Market Street Agency. We didn't want to rebrand our entire Handy Street thing, so we took an older page we had and rebranded it as Market Street. Slapped some stuff up there, and it's good enough to make a sale. It's not perfect, but it's good enough to make a sale, and that's really all that matters. We could have done it wrong on our own for years, but coaching made it work right away for life. And that's kind of what I was saying with the fish. And I have a new perspective on, good coaching, and good is big because I know that there's a lot of people who've gotten burned with bad coaching in the past. Even on this call or on previous calls with the CMCC crew, a lot of people have come here after getting burned by something. So this has really taught me to not be completely scared of paying some money to get a lot of information. Because that means, you're basically buying years. You know what I mean? Like if Adam and I had gone at it on our own as we were, we probably would have worked at least a full year till we closed a client, and maybe 2 years till we even figured out to get a niche. Right. But
Yeah.
here we are like 3-4 months in. to our real journey, and we've already niched down and are getting like niche sales calls, right? Um,
And that's the reason that we're able to like jump in and learn later is because we have access to Koshik and Mason. Like it would be a lot harder to kind of learn as we go out there in the real world by ourselves. But the fact that we can just launch a campaign, and if something is not perfect or something is screwed up, we can send a loom and get an answer like that. It's a game changer for sure.
yeah, that's a great point. Just like being able to jump into the fire and have somebody to back you up, and like,
Yeah.
we made a lot of dumb decisions along the way, like a lot, you know what I mean? But like they helped us, they either corrected us or we asked and then they corrected us, so don't be scared to be dumb. Koshik and Mason have designed most steps very purposefully. Following them to a T is paramount to success. If you question something you're doing and it feels wrong, chances are it's probably exactly what you should be doing. I'm pretty sure that's a paraphrase of Alex Hormozy. That's why it says AH. But that I kind of saw right away. I saw that they like corrected a bunch of stuff and a bunch of thinking that we had and redirected it or reconditioned it to be like a different type of thinking. And from that point on, I was kind of like prepared to accept whatever they were going to throw at us because I really understood that there was a reason for pretty much anything. And I can say that if there was something they questioned that was wrong, in their minds, they would totally admit to it, right? They're like, oh, we're changing that on our week 3 or something like that. We're updating that. And that was very few and far between, but most of the stuff that I questioned doing, they had a really good reason for it. So just do it, go with the process, and sort of accept that it's for the right reasons, and you'll figure out why later. And Koshik says that all the time, like you'll know why later. And certainly, I feel like we do know why at this point for a lot of those things. Okay, a couple more. The more interest you show, the more interest the coaches will show. Feedback and questions are the only way a teacher really knows if the student is at the right place. I taught film for 3 years when I was just a bit younger, kind of confused. And, there could be a lot of quiet kids that knew a lot of great things about film, but if they didn't say shit to me, I wouldn't know it. You know what I mean? And like, the point here is not to impress them. The point here is to get feedback, right? And so they see your whole process and not just what they see superficially. So give them feedback, show interest in them, show interest in what you're learning, and you're going to get that back. And that just goes for like life, dude, right? Like if you give interest to life, it's going to give it back to you. If you tell it's not interesting, it's going to tell you the exact same thing. Okay, 2 more. Learn from others' mistakes and triumphs. This is ridiculous. The wise man learns from his mistakes. The sage learns from other people. I'll say that again. The wise man learns from his mistakes and the sage learns from other people. It's incredibly hard to learn from other people. I know you want to try it out yourself. If you can observe everyone in this course over the next few months, see what they're doing wrong, what you don't like about it, and see what they're doing right, and take those things and leave the things they're doing wrong, you're going to save yourself a ton of money. And let's see, I said we observed people missing classes, getting 0 work done, and in between weeks, and generally not having commitment. And my question was like, why are you spending thousands of dollars to be an observer? You can be an observer from far away, right? Like Adam and I knew that like for us, this is a big sacrifice financially. And we were just like all in, it was like, we're paying for this. Like we're going to get every single piece of juice we can out of it. And I think we came close to it. I know we didn't get all of it, but we came pretty close. Last one. Don't take the first step so seriously. It's a video game where you don't know what any of the buttons do and who the bosses are at the end of each level, or even which level to go to. Forgive yourself for not being an expert right away. You'll have a few game over signs and have to hit restart again and again before getting to the princess each. Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm stoked. Like, thank you all. Thanks for like listening to us. Aman, like you've been an inspiration to us, just like kind of watching your journey. We watched that YouTube video that you created with like your whole journey, and it was like super helpful. Helped us make some decisions on the back end too about what to do, just kind of watching that. And dudes, like, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for all that. Adam, was there anything you wanted to chime in and add to that? And then after that, what I was going to ask is if anybody had any question for Tony and Adam in terms of what they just went over. Adam, was there something you wanted to add by any chance?
Um, I can't say so, man. I would just basically reiterate what Tony said in different words. But yeah, just jump in, figure it out later. Don't be afraid to communicate. Time management's definitely huge. And I would say, MJ, first of all, welcome to the program, MJ. Sounds like you have a pretty rigorous routine already, so I'm sure you'll be able to crush it these next 3 months. But no, overall, thank you, Koshik and Mason. Is Mason here?
He is.
He looks different because
Right.
he's in Florida right now.
Right.
Usually he's in like a dark cave, but today he's
Yeah.
in like a bright sunny. He's near
Love
in Orlando, getting ready to go to Disney.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Adam. MJ, I know you're walking, traveling. Is there anything you wanted to ask, or some of the guys are a little bit newer? We got, Dan in the house. Billy, you've been here for, about 2 months. This is Tony and Adam's last day, and they'll probably be back. I don't know when. But is there anything you guys wanted to ask them while you had them?
So yeah, like in terms of like the time management piece as well, how are you able to, sort of split your time between doing the tasks that you needed to do and other activities as well? How long does it typically take you to do maybe like a task from the CMCC, program? And what efficiencies, I guess, did you build around that to help you even do better, I guess?
We kept it super, super simple, man. We would just have our own little to-do lists on like one document. We would have Tony to do, Adam to do, and it's just like that simple. I've handled a lot of like building out the systems and the automations in high level. And that's something that I'm sure you'll pick up like way easier than I did. But each time that you build a system and build an automation, the next time you'll be able to do it like without referring to any videos or without thinking about it. So you'll definitely get those reps in just naturally in the course. But as far as time management and just task completion, I mean, Koshik recommends to check in with them like 3 times a week. I would recommend that, even though I didn't personally do that. But just kind of let them know like what you're going to get done that week, and then show up to the next coaching call the next Monday and have it done and be able to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're coming from an IT background, so you might have an easier time with like megapixels and things that like we struggled with. Like Adam and I put aside like 2 days here in the office together to build the funnel and make it work. And I think the pixel took us like 2 hours the first time. We were just chasing our tails. I think it was the end of the day. We were kind of just not really thinking correctly anyway. But now, it takes like 10 to 15 minutes, right? So like there are a few tasks in there that you might get hung up on like crazy, but coming from an IT background, you'll probably just slam through the computer stuff. And for me personally, like I wake up early, man. Like I've got 2 kids. I've got to. If I don't get up early, I've lost. So I beat them up. Don't beat them up. I beat them. Stop recording, everyone. No, I usually get up around 5 a.m. and like I like start crushing underway. If I get a 5 to 7, it's worth to me a 9 to 12, like or 9 to 1. Like that 5 to 7 block for me is so freaking valuable because no one's calling me, no one's texting me, no one's DMing me, and I crush. You know what I mean? And my kids aren't bothering me. And then, if I've had a really good day, then I'll hop on after they go to bed or after whatever. But it's doable. I have 2 children. We have an office here we maintain the entire time. We had lots of other types of clients that we were maintaining the other time and still like hitting most of the milestones that they wanted us to.
So there's something I want to say really quick as well. So I went through a lot of coaching programs myself, and I would purchase these courses and I would get anxiety and kind of just like click around them and not really know exactly what to do or what information to absorb first, right? And I think when you get all this information thrown at you all at once, you kind of just don't know what to do, right? So in terms of that, like inside this course in the coaching program, you're always going to know like what is next, right? So in sorts of like time management, there's never going to be a moment in time, especially if you show up to every single Monday meeting, where you should ever question yourself of what do I need to do next, right? So the course is really built out instead of like, hey, like, oh, you want to learn sales, like go to the sales section or do this, go do this, right? For us, it's like, hey, here's week one, do all of this stuff, then we can graduate, right? You can put your cap on, twist your thing to the side, and you go to week two. Like literally that's how it works. So in terms of like time management, like Coach Sheik and I get it. Like we understand that like if you get so much information at once, you're absorbing too much stuff at one time, like it just there's gonna be so many things going on in your brain, you're gonna be overthinking exactly what you're doing. Right. So it's kind of like what Tony and Adam were saying in the beginning, which it was like, hey, don't try to perfect anything, just do the thing and move on because there's always something that happens next. So something that I really enjoy about this course and how it was built out, gotta pat ourselves on the back, is the fact that like you always know exactly what's going on, what you need to do next, and you know exactly what milestones you're hitting and what's next. So in sorts of time management, we have built the system out where there's a hierarchy of what you need to do and what's the most high leverage thing. So hopefully that helps and that gives you a little bit less of anxiety of like, hey, like, how do I manage my time? Like, do we got you?
Thank you for
Yeah, it
that.
does. It does. And everyone keeps saying I'm have an IT background. Every time that happens in school, when they say that, oh, this course is easy, you're gonna, when they're talking about the lecturer, oh, the class is gonna be great. I'm like, if it's great for you, it doesn't. I never attribute it to myself too. But yeah, I think I agree with what everybody has said, and that makes sense to me. So
The biggest time, like the biggest time part, man, is like a lot of what you've done already, MJ, which is like watching 12 hours of my ugly mug. Like that's probably like that's like the most time consuming part. After that, you're just kind of doing stuff. And then, building a six-figure 6 week, getting that up and launched is not that much time. Tony and Adam talked about how they got stuck on the Pixel, but also like you can reach out to us and Mason, what he'll do is hop on a call with you. He does that for a lot of the members. So just hop on a call and help you kind of get set up. He's not going to do it for you, but he'll walk you through it so you learn yourself. So Mason's really good about doing that, where he helps you get it done efficiently. And then after that, man, you're just doing a bunch of calls. And then after that, the part that you're actually going to put some time into is going to be, building out your niche funnel, which is what Tony and Adam, it took them, a solid few weeks to do that. So that's really the most time commitment part, just the way we built it out. That being said, MJ, I hope that this has all helped, man, in terms of, maybe reducing some anxiety, answering some questions. I hope you feel inspired. I hope you're feeling fired up for what awaits you.
well, yeah, I am. I feel pretty. I already like spent, at least for me, I already spent like Sunday recording all the videos that needed to happen for for the Instagram page. So I'll probably edit those probably tomorrow or what have you, edit all those out and just post them all and then go on to the next thing. And yeah, so yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, MJ. Cool, guys. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transition our conversation and kind of get into the nitty gritty. And so, MJ, I know you got stuff going on as well. So if you want to hang out, bounce, whatever, it's totally cool. But we're going to go and resume our usual program, guys. So who do we have first? First, we have Aman. So what's going on, bro?
Hey, so yeah, I wanted to touch on because I read over how you responded to my message about the ads, what I should focus on first. So just kind of want to get a little bit more clarity on that. Um, yeah, so yeah, I think I mentioned like starting with like the clicks, fixing the clicks first, and then getting to the opt-in page, making sure the conversion is up. But you kind of suggested moving the other way, where I should make sure that the conversions look good first, and then move back to. I think everything else looks fine. Obviously, other than the cost per acquisition, just because I haven't been getting as many leads, but I think what I think I should be doing is tweaking up the offers on the page and see what that does. Is
I
that
see.
correct?
Okay, so what you mean is like instead of saying like 90 hydrofacials in 90 days, trying something else.
before I tweak anything on the ad side. So I can try like I have the duplicate ad set and then yeah, tweak up the headline first and see what happens there.
Gotcha. So my suggestion would be, so the way I like to think about it is like for us, for example, we've got what we're doing is we're solving like the lead gen problem, lead gen, and then that goes into our funnel. And then, that's our low ticket funnel. That's what this represents. And then from there, we've got our coaching offer.
Uh,
Down the road, what we're going to do is maybe we're going to solve the sales problem. So we'll have some $47 course where you say, hey, we'll help you with sales. And then that'll take them into this funnel where the center marketing cheat code is the upsell, whatever. And then ultimately, same thing. We're ending up in the coaching. And so what we're doing is we're simply changing like this right here. So we're solving a different problem. This right here, the lead generation versus sales, this is analogous to you solving 90 hydrofacials in 90 days, 10 Botox in 10 days, 5 full sculpting in 5 days. That's this. But the thing is like, so this lead gen thing, I have like multiple ads for this and I'm trying multiple things. I've been running this since 2022. And so it's like what I'm trying to get across. So when I say 22 and we're in 24 right now, that goes to show like how much juice there is here. And so what I'm saying is that my suggestion, based off of what I've seen so far, is that 90 hydrofish in 90 days is analogous to this, and there's a lot more potential juice left. So I personally wouldn't do this. What I would do is I would just tweak up the different kinds of ads to get more and more people here. And then once this eventually dries up, then I would switch it to like, 20 laser treatments in 20 days or whatever. I wouldn't switch just right now.
okay, got it. Because right now my ad doesn't mention anything about hydrofacials. It's only like once you click in, you see it. But the variations I made, like when I like point to this ad right here, it's like a hydrofacial one, and then I have another iteration where it says 90 hydrofacials in 90 days, so it is part of the ad, and then I have another one where it's like a montage of a hydrofacial being done. So I actually that those are actually technically more congruent with the landing page now, if I launch those. So should I go ahead and do those first?
Wait, so what is the if we look at the bottleneck in terms
Uh,
um is it the cost per click? Because that's what it looks like cost per click. Is it the conversion rate on the opt-in page?
the cost per click went up from like $6 to $10. It was like $5 before that, and then but the opt-in rate is went from 20 consistently to like 10.
Yeah.
Um,
So the way I would look at it is I would bring in new creatives to ideally get my cost per click lower, getting around $6, $3, whatever. And if I can get calls booked for still 10 to 20%, that means the opt-in page is still there's still juice there.
okay, so it's 10 within range because I thought the 10% was like, oh, it's 10% lower while the other ones were steady around 20%.
Yeah.
Um,
My theory is here's the thing. Here's what I'm trying to get across to is if the skill one of the most important skills is to get good at juicing the lemon
uh,
before you move on to the new thing.
right.
Otherwise, you're going to be like building a new funnel every 3 months, 6 months. Ideally, you're going to build a funnel with an offer and you're going to run that for 6 months to a year. That's what I'm saying. So and you might be right. You might be right where we have to change up the opt-in page. I think that the reason Aaron changed up his is because that's what everybody was doing in his program. I don't think he switched it up because it stopped working. I don't think so. I think he switched up
Right.
because all at the same time, everybody's running the exact same creative, exact same will get you famous. Everybody in that program was. So I think what happened is he was, running the same offer as you. It was good, up and down, up and down. And then eventually everybody's launching that. And so he just goes to that and just says, fuck it to this, even though this was fine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so,
and yeah,
and
where my
so,
head was at was I'm sorry. Was there more?
so, so like for me, it's like 10% is fine. Like 10%, 20, 30%. I mean, we look at Jorge. Jorge's got like 5%. That's not normal. That's not good. But like still, he's even within KPI. The question becomes, what is the conversion rate? And then also like how much are you paying per book call? Right now, like you could like 28, like it is very possible. We just like had a honeymoon phase. And then after that, it's gonna be like $100 and maybe $100 is normal. If you
Right.
look what does Aaron say? Aaron says like that's what he's paying. He's paying like $100 on a call, and then his cost per acquisition is about $1,000,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what he said. $1,000 cost per acquisition.
I think so. I'll look at the numbers again.
If it's $1,000 per acquisition and he's closing 20%, I mean, yeah, he's probably getting book calls for $100, and then like half of them don't show up, and so $200 per show up, and then 1 out of 5 is closed. Most likely, that's what he's doing. And so if we compare your numbers to that, it's like you have a long way to go before you hit anything like that.
Right.
I'm not necessarily saying we have to wait till you hit that.
Right.
Like what the way I'm defining it is like when your numbers double, we like it's maybe a sign, and maybe let's see if we can bring it down. And so in terms of order of operations, what I would personally do is I would personally like try to keep the exact same page, the calendar page. I would try to keep this exact same. I would not switch it. And then it would just be small minor tweaks to ads.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, right now the ad that is running, like when I point to the ad, it's like a chemical peel video. So the three variations I have are all hydrofacial related. So I do think it would, because it would make it a little bit more congruent with what's already on the page. And one of the iterations was having a headline instead of TikTok was AI. I want to do the 90 hydrofacials in 90 days. So then that way it's kind of like it's still the same, but it's actually like catches people's eye if they're, liked the opt-in page. And I think I had one acquisition so far with like, the new set of ads, and the acquisition cost was um like $500, $580. So um
I think your numbers are like like everything is relative. And so relative to like your older numbers, it's like, oh, it's a little bit high. I mean, it's not high actually for you because your acquisition cost was around that. But like your cost per book call, like I feel like it feels high to us, but like it's still very, 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 very good. Like everything is still very healthy. 500 for
yeah.
is like insanely good. And I don't know if I went over this. Your cost per acquisition should be, and this is important for everybody to make a note of. If you're running paid ads ever, your cost per acquisition, everybody, it should be 25% of your lifetime value. That's how you know. So for us, for example, I like, for example, like I don't spend any money ever having a sales call, but the way I look at it is like, oh, I don't just get free sales calls. I look at like my LTV is around $700. And so if I take $700, I divide that by 4, I can afford to spend $170 to sell somebody something to buy my $47 thing, because that's a 25% of the lifetime value. So your lifetime value, I mean, we'll see. I mean, we need more time, but it's most likely at least 3K, on average, most likely. We'll see. And so
Right.
that means your average, you could be spending 50, what, like 50 if your lifetime value is 3K.
Okay.
So you were saying something, I'm sorry.
Um no, I think I was just trying to see what the numbers look like now, because the cost per booked discovery call is, yeah, around $100 now. Um, but again, that's just duplicating the ad sets. But yeah,
What's your
that's what kind of where,
What's your
huh?
unique click-through rate? Like when I look at this, what I'll tell you is that $10 seems pretty high for a click. The cost per book call doesn't scare me. The conversion rate, right? Like
Mm.
the cost per book call of $98 doesn't scare me. The opt-in percentage conversion rate doesn't scare me. Would I like a 20% for sure? Would I like a 26 for sure? Would I like a 17 for sure? But like this is not scary at all. What's scary to
Uh,
me, the thing that jumps out at me is we have what is our unique click-through rate? That's my concern. What does it say on your Facebook Ads Manager for March?
let me pull it up.
Maybe we should put that into the, I mean, we don't have to, but like my question to you is this, is like, what is the unique click-through rate for March versus February versus January?
Okay, let me see. Um, so for March right now, if
Yeah.
I do this, unique click through rank or unique click through rate. Let's pull that up. Um, so I have the CTR. Do you want to do the UCTR?
Unique. Yeah, unique.
Okay, let me get that. Unique CTR. Here we go. Okay, so it's looking like 1.44 for this month.
What in your CPM is 89?
Mhm.
Okay. And then for February,
February is it was 2.13.
and your CPM was 80.
Let me just be sure.
So that something is off there potentially.
Um, actually, let me do it like this. My okay, so yeah, it was around 86. Um, and then where we go? Let's click CTR. Here we go. So yeah, 2.13%, and then yeah, 86 for CPM, and then January was 2.18%, and the CPM was 67.
Okay.
Yeah, and then now my CPM is around 91.
Okay. So when I look at this, I mean, I don't know if the numbers are for sure. Like my math could be super off, but like I'm looking here, it's like we're ranging around 2% here.
Mhm.
And I guess your CPM is a bit higher here. And so that would explain going from $5 to $6. To me, it's like if you're dropping down to 1.4% and your CPM is not really increasing, like I feel like this number should be around like $7, $8 maybe, but not 10.
Mhm.
Unless like my
Ah,
math would be totally fucked. I'm kind of guesstimating here.
right. Um, let me update the total spent this from this month on there. It should be for the most part up to date. They updated like yesterday.
Okay.
So yeah, still like um $10.
Okay.
Let me see
So
link clicks updated. So 61 link clicks. Yeah, the cost per unique link click on Facebook went up. So it's actually yeah, it's still around $10.
okay. So I think my theory is this is like 10% is not something to be scared at. Like mine is 10%. Like my webinar when I had a webinar funnel was anywhere from 10% to 30%. It was fine.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm looking at this. I'm like, oh, this is fine. It's not that big deal. Is this
Okay.
like is this great? Yeah, for sure. But like it's not like Adam, Tony, do you guys know what your conversion rate is on your funnel? I think you guys have a higher conversion rate as well.
We might not be good to, I think we're getting really lucky with our numbers and beginner's luck right now.
Mhm.
I think we're pretty, I mean, in terms of like converting to a sale though, we don't have a sale. Are you asking
No, no,
an
no.
opt
I'm
page?
asking your conversion rate for your opt-in page. Like what percentage of people are ending on your page and then converting to a book discovery call?
Like
4.6%, I think.
what? No,
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 it's
never mind.
70%, maybe 60. It's crazy
So,
right now.
so like 1 out of 2 people that end up on your page are booking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right for the honeymoon phase. Um, so I mean, I'm looking at this. I'm like, honestly, this is not bad.
Okay.
Like, like my conversion rate. Like, I mean, if we look at like just my stuff, like right now, um, is this being weird? There we go. Sorry about this, guys. Yeah. So like I've got click-through rates that are as low as 0.9, and this is fine. This one is massively profitable at 1.45. I'm like right around this. And I have like one thing that's 5-6%. The only reason that's that is because that's warm traffic. And so this entire funnel does like a 10x. And so, you know, the reason I'm sharing that with you is if I'm at like 1.5%, like you're probably fine at like 1.5%. And so
Okay.
that's not to say let's settle for this. What I'm saying is like nothing is on fire. What I'm saying is like
Right.
if we continue to get if we continue to uh yeah, if we continue to get book calls at $100, like it's not the worst thing in the world. My theory is like what I think will happen is I think what we'll do is we'll be able to get our clicks back down to about $6.
Yeah.
And if we can get our clicks back down to $6 and we stay within about $100 cost per book call, I think that's pretty solid. About 10% to 20%, 10% to 30%, about $100 per book call, like you're chilling, I think. I think you're gonna be fine.
Okay, cool. And should I, so if I test, right, I basically should just keep the ad set running and then maybe test like, $15 per ad set for like the new variations. And then, if one of those does better, then, we can roll with it. If not, then, this is just kind of my baseline.
So what are you asking? Like, should I keep on the existing ad set with the new ad set? Is that what you're asking? Or are you asking something else?
Yeah, like so we have the ad set that's, working and it's getting around, $100 per book call. And then should I test like, three other ad sets at like maybe 15 each just to see like, which one is like if any of those variations I made does end up performing better and then just switch to that. Or should I like kind of keep doing this until like okay, it starts going up even more?
So this is the part where I brought up with you, like I just kind of feel things out and it depends on the situation. In your particular case, I guess one thing that we can't my again, this is like tinfoil hat theory, is like you have a bunch of assets that are competing with each other. It's you know what I mean? Like I don't know. And so one thing that we can do because and I'm suggesting this because we have an ad set where we're basically saying like, oh, it's broken. It's not broken, but it's like, yeah, we're not like we think that we can do better. We think we can do better. So if we think we can do better, if it's not like our, ace of spades, it's not the best thing. It's kind of like our backup, like our weekday driving car, whatever. One thing we could do is if you have the three creatives, we can just inject them into that ad set.
Okay.
We could just inject them into that ad set and just like see what happens. Is Facebook going to attribute more of the ad spend to? I bet you what will happen is Facebook will attribute to the newer ads, and then from there we can just see how things go. Maybe things are working. We can book calls. Maybe the cost per click is going down, and if so, maybe we just like not even touch it. Maybe it'll start like optimizing and fix itself. If
Okay.
it doesn't, then what we can do is we can maybe duplicate the ad sets and all that and kill the original off. We can kind of figure that out.
Okay, that makes sense.
Just out of curiosity, would you ever kill the campaign itself? Or does the campaign always live? For 20, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, the campaigns always live. They live forever. Yeah. And never touch the campaign. And
These
you're
are
gonna
all the ad sets that you've had throughout 2020, or have you like deleted or do you hide them?
like ad sets or ads
I
or
feel like I have like 15 ad sets already.
oh yeah, I have a lot of ad sets. If I come,
Okay, you're just able to like hide them.
I just set up my filter,
Oh, okay, you just have the filter.
dude.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I was like, I feel like I have so many ad sets.
We got a shit ton, bro. Um. So so did you last thing is like did you understand what I meant in terms of like there's a cost per click, cost per book call, cost per sales call, cost per acquisition. Did you get what I was saying about this, or did you have a question on this one?
Um, I mean, technically, because my cost per clicks are high, wouldn't everything else be high?
So here's something important to understand. This is important for you. It's important for everybody to understand. So let's say, guys, we have a cost per click, and then we have a cost per, lead or cost per book call, right? This is if everybody's building the niche funnel, and then you've got your cost per sales call, and then you have your cost per acquisition. Okay. So what's important to understand is like you might like believe like, oh, let's do one bottleneck at a time. Let's get our cost per click down as much as possible, and then figure out this bottleneck, and then let's figure out our cost per book call, and that's like the natural order of operation. But the truth is this is like you throw stuff at the wall, and if your cost per acquisition is good, everything else is irrelevant. And so what you do
Okay.
is you start here and then you make your way back. So you focus on this. Is this good? Is this not good? Okay, well then what's the issue? Is the issue here? What is this number? Is it good or is it bad? If it's bad, then the question becomes, why is it bad? So if my cost per sales call is too high, is it because I'm just sucking balls at my cost per discovery call? Or is it that my cost per click is too high and all the numbers are attributing over? And so you have to reverse engineer and figure that out. So this is the
Okay.
most, you always start with this number, you go backwards. So the truth is, Aman, in your case, this is also, hopefully this is coming full circle. What I'm saying to you is like, dude, your cost per acquisition is fine. And
Yeah.
so, you know what I mean? Like if your cost per acquisition is fine, like all this stuff is irrelevant to some degree. And the
Yeah.
question becomes, how do you know what a good cost per acquisition is? It depends on just your overall profit and losses in your business. And like, what do you want your profitability to be in your business? Right? It's like I want a 50% profit and I want to be at 100K of profit. Okay, good. All right. So does that make sense,
Yeah.
Aman? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the most important thing to understand. And if you view that as your North Star, it reduces a lot of anxiety. Like I used to look at like my cost per click, like, dude, I'm gonna freak out right now. I got a fucking $8 cost per click. I haven't even looked at this shit. That's fucking high. It's terrible. I got a
Gee, we
seven.
got to work backwards. We got to work backwards.
Yeah. And so look at this now and like I don't care because my numbers
Uh,
overall wise are fine. So I'm like, I'm not sweating it.
cool.
Yeah. Um, so what else did you want to go over?
The second point I had in the general chat was about VAs. So I was just asking out of curiosity if like it's something I should look into at all. The only reason I asked is because one, I feel like the way I have to like give scripts to my clients and like try to coach them and try to like just hone in on them calling and stuff feels very like done with you, which is fine. But again, if I'm done for you, I feel like it would make sense that like I know that calling is one of the biggest aspects of this whole thing. And so I wonder if that's something I should like integrate, kind of like how I did with AI and stuff. And then another reason I thought of that is just because the two med spas I've talked to that were like the biggest ones I've talked to utilizes a VA that's not even like, that's from out of the country and stuff, and they're utilizing VAs. And I thought like, oh, I thought like all the big ones are using like just in-house. So it seems like there's, some kind of value in that as well. And one, I can be a lot more hands-on. I can actually track them more. I can like, listen to their calls and stuff. So that was just something I was thinking of, like, should I look into it? Should I try to implement it for one person that like, is already doing somewhat decent, and then
I would recommend talking to Jay, and I would
uh
recommend also that Jordan guy if he ends up hopping on a call with you, and then like learning from them. They can tell you better than I can tell you. I know, for example, that Jay guy. I don't know if Jorge. I don't think Jorge's here, but yeah, Jay hired a call center to like do this. Like there's literally a company that just like had the lead, and they would just take care of that. And he said it was a waste of money.
oh, okay.
So
Okay.
that's like that perspective. Maybe it's because he's outsourcing. I don't even know if he was outsourcing or was part of the company. I
Right.
don't know for sure. Um, I've heard of like Digital Ox, which is another company that's what they swear by, is they swear by like they have an internal team that calls all the leads, so the clients never have to deal with it. So he swears by it, but he also says that he doesn't charge any less than 2,500 per month. And
Right.
that's because it's just not profitable.
Yeah.
And then you've got Aaron Sawyers, who I'm pretty sure does that as well. And then you've got Terrell, who doesn't do that, I don't think.
Yeah.
This is more AI stuff like you. I think
Yeah.
that the thing is like the thing is, man, it's like so much work and so
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
If I were you, maybe it's something that I think maybe explore and we try it out for a month or two and give it a
Yeah,
shot.
that's kind of where my head was at. Like, we're like, just maybe try it, maybe like pay for a few hours a day where they just sit down and go through a bunch of calls and get data or something. But again, I don't really know. Like I feel like it could go either way.
I guess let's do it this way. It's like, what is the bottleneck that we're solving for?
I just feel like for my clients, a lot of them, it's so hard for me to like one, keep track if they're even calling. But like two, just getting them to like understand like not even just like calling. Some of them will call, but then some of them won't like follow the scripts as, um, as to a T. Again, it's getting those recordings, like they'll call from their own line and it can just be like this lot of back and forth of trying to get like numbers from them and stuff. So I think that's it, just not having like that control over it. Um and and again, kind of like doing more of the coaching, I guess.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The reason I'm trying to pull this up is like there's a good video by him where he talks about what they're doing for realtors. I think it's
Uh-huh.
and one thing he taught, I think it's this one. I'd recommend also giving this a watch. So like three things. Check this video out. Talk to potentially Jay. I think it's worth it just to hear Jay's perspective, even though he's in a different niche than you,
Uh-huh.
about this thing. And then that Jordan guy for sure. Because
Uh,
he'll know more than everybody. That Jordan guy will know more than everybody.
yeah.
For
Fortunately,
sure.
Jordan hasn't responded yet, but you know.
Um, but like the reason I'm suggesting this is like this is a lot like what I do with us and with our coaching done with you offer. And the way he kind of explains like he's giving people he's putting the ball in their court. He's like, hey, this is your responsibility, you must do this thing. And so it's like
Yeah, that's how I approach it now.
the question is just like, can you do that better? Because I feel like if you can solve that equation, which I just think most agencies don't solve because they just don't know how to communicate good enough. I'm not saying you don't know how to communicate good enough. I'm just saying maybe you
Yeah.
can communicate better. I think most
Yeah.
people don't know how to communicate better. They don't use enough words. They don't have enough systems like, hey, we show up Monday, Wednesday, Friday, set up an alarm in your system. Like, I think most people just don't drill things hard enough. And it's like, it's not that it's not solvable, it is solvable. They just don't do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
also,
like
that
present
because,
me with an
and I would say that because that's literally, I mean, Jordan runs a done with you agency. Like, he's fucking for sure not calling up his leads. I guarantee it.
yeah, yeah,
If he's figured it out, it's got to be figure outable.
yeah. Even something like, I mean, this is just off the top of my head as you're talking, but like if you present me with the numbers every week or something, then you know, you get access to a meet with me or something like that. I don't know, but I don't know, it gives them incentive or something.
I don't, so I guess your question was just like, what should I do? Should I hire a VA? And I would just say, what I would do is I would consult first and then make it
Yeah.
from there.
Okay.
If you want to make the decision, of course, I'll be in the trenches with you and I'll do the best with you. I think just doing that, it creates a whole host of other problems. Actually, here's the thing. In order to train a VA, you have to do it yourself and be really good at it yourself. So like that's the question is like, can you do that right now? Can you train a VA? Do you have like here's what you would have to do to make this actually work. Here's the thing. Here's what you would actually have to do. One, you would have to know exactly which ad funnel offers work for each client,
Mhm.
first of all. And that's the part where we don't even have that missing piece yet, right? We have to get that first. Step two is every single time somebody like opts in becomes a lead, you take on a client, two clients, and you literally follow up all leads for them. You record yourself, you document yourself. Three, you create some kind of course material and say, hey, here's exactly how the funnels work. And so again, right now you don't even like we need it's like, hey, these are the four kinds of funnels that we run for our clients. It's a lipo, laser, whatever, facial. And so once somebody opts in becomes a lead, here's a journey that they go through. And so again, we're just training the VA. And then also, now that you know the system, within the first 5 minutes, you have to be reaching out. And here's exactly what you have to say. And here's 10 recordings of me doing that.
Mm,
That's what is required to actually train somebody.
right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Suddenly I know my answer.
Suddenly you don't want to do it.
Yeah. I don't know why you suggested VAs, man. I don't think it's a good idea.
Um, so
But yeah, it makes sense. I definitely think there must be a better way to like kind of put it on them to call and figure out a system there because it's close. Like some of my clients get it a little bit more now to do it, so it's just kind of like drilling.
that's what I like doing. I just like putting it on people and just like being fucking ruthless in communication.
Yeah,
That's how I've solved it. Be ruthless in communication.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
So I mean, are you still going to pursue doing some research and then make a decision, or are you pretty much like super turned off now and like you're not going to do it?
No, I mean my biggest goal is really just getting the information first, and then even before I even consider anything like that, just get the information and then figure out, if it's like all the top med spas are doing. Like I know even for like Forever Booked, like I remember seeing something on the thing that's like once you get to like month 9 with us or something, you get access to our like in-house client or like in-house call center and then they get it. So, maybe it's like I'm pretty sure even then they put it on their clients to do the calling for like a certain amount of time until they got their, you know,
This is great inertial, right?
yeah,
Yeah, for sure, dude. Like there's no way they're doing there's no way they're calling the leads for sure. Not
yeah,
his for sure. So it's like you
yeah,
look at Graydon. So you look at Graydon and you look at Jordan. It's like if you see these guys doing it, it's figure outable.
yeah, yeah,
Figure out.
you're right. Yeah,
Right.
well, this was when Jordan was, yeah, like done with you too, or sorry, done for you as well. So it was like his his patient concierge is what he called it. Um, and then yeah, I'm pretty sure now he's fully done with you. So, I'm sure they don't even think about doing something like that.
And I
Yeah.
think part of it just depends on, there again, you guys speak with Jordan. Jordan's can tell you, but maybe it's, Jordan gets people to pay like 10K up front, for example, maybe. And so therefore it's really on people. And so if they don't succeed, they, flush the 10K down the drain, for example. I don't know. I'm making something up here, but like there's a rhyme and reason behind what he's doing and it's working.
Yeah. For Jordan, should I like, because hasn't responded. Should I try to find like other people? If not, should I like try to like follow up with him again and then just
Yeah,
kind of,
you got to be relentless. Like these things, like you don't just look at these three people that I went over. Like you should be in your time, spare time looking for people, like finding as
okay,
many as you can, like finding and DMing freaking as many as people as you can to find somebody. Gotta go
okay,
down that rabbit hole.
cool.
Yep. And so, like, we're talking about Jordan. It's like if you get it with him, good. If not, we got to keep going until you find somebody. Um, yeah. What else you got for me?
I think that's it for now.
Okay. Game plan for this week?
Um, so well, I'm gonna launch 2 funnels for clients. One for I have to add you to the group chats, I think, but one for a client I got like last month, but they had like family stuff going on, so they just got back with me, setting everything up there. And then another one I'll be launching with that new one that's a little bit bigger. And so tomorrow I'll be hopping on call with one of their marketing people because I'm this is the first one where I'm setting everything on their go high level. And so I'm getting with like their person because they have all these systems in place. So I'm just gonna learn like making sure that my leads that come in don't interfere with any of their process, but their VAs can see it and everything like that. So once I can fully learn all that, then I can have that launch call with the rest of the team and get everything launched. So those are basically ready now. I just have to, yeah, like one of them, they haven't been like sending me the footage, so I found like stock footage and I'm like gonna test, use that as like a learning opportunity to test. Maybe there's like a winning ad there and I can always have that as a backup. And then on top of that, probably just look for because I'm not really getting any calls right now, so I'll probably just really look for like that niche expert since I have the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's probably the two big things.
Yeah. Cool. Sounds good. Yeah, I think I was thinking about like just this past weekend, I was like, just like reflecting on you and some of the guys that are kind of in similar situation is like the one missing link in everybody right now is not having service delivery dialed into a T.
Yeah.
What would I do if I had service delivery dialed into a T? And I'm like, I never think about service delivery for myself. It's like the course materials there. I build out the activation points. I never think, I just think about marketing. And that's when you can be truly ruthless in marketing and
Yeah.
sales. We just like that. Once we have that, it's like, dude, we're just gonna fucking blow up ads and hop on a shit ton of calls and close.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I can't wait because I feel like when I'm thinking about my top priority when I like get to work every day, it's like I'm thinking, okay, how can I like make my service delivery better? But I know long term, it's the first thing I should be doing is my marketing. But I feel like I'm like holding my punches back when I'm doing my sales calls or my marketing just because it's still like, not that I don't do it, it's just I just know once I kind of have that system down, and I feel like I'm really close, but like just having that consultation with someone or that getting that information down, I think will change everything.
Yeah. Okay. I'll message you about this as well privately about some additional options.
Okay.
Doing this research like that's pretty much it. That's where I feel like you're at right now. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, we got to get the funnel and ads for client acquisition, but like I'm sure you're gonna figure that out in due time. Like it's not gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'd have a lot of
Feel
fun with
feel
that.
free to ping me too, Amon. I've hired a couple VAs and placed them in people's businesses as well. So I have a little
Okay.
bit of experience with it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's awesome. For like your clients, you set up VAs?
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you set up clients for your VAs rather than having a central VA for like all your
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's
Okay,
interesting.
cool. Yeah.
That's really cool, Mason. We should totally talk about that. Maybe that's something you can share with the guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually hiring my second one for a different trainer. But yeah, that's been working pretty well.
Nice. Would you agree, like what I said to Aman of like you got to basically figure out service delivery and the whole thing first, and then to make sense for a VA, or what's been your experience?
Um, I don't
Or
think you necessarily have to figure out service delivery before you get a VA. I think the most important thing to understand is like they have to have the power and understanding of how to do it first. So basically what I do is like I work with them one-on-one first to make sure that they know how to set appointments. And then when they set like 2 or 3 appointments, I'd be like, hey, you know what would be really cool? What happens if we place someone inside of your business that did what you're doing right now for you? They're like,
right.
really? And I'm like, yeah. And then I'm basically, I don't train the VA. I make them train the VA. And then they
Oh,
have a question about training the VA. They come to me. So it's
yeah.
like,
We're the
I'm like
same.
the
Yeah.
big boss.
That,
And they're just kind of like, yeah, but that's the way that I've done it. But um, I
So
basically created a, go ahead. I didn't want to.
no, no, no. So I think that's like super genius. That's like the level above of what we're talking about, Aman, right? That's like a manager role, but it fundamentally goes back to like you got to know your shit until you know your shit. The VA is fucking useless. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it goes. You gotta like right now. It's like what ads do we run for sure? We don't even fucking know for sure. So you know.
Yeah. And we're so like right now for one of the clients of where they're at, we're like preparing to start scaling. So we already have hired a couple different people and I've kind of already placed them inside of her business to like get prepared to scale. So we're getting her another VA, but basically what we're doing is we're recording a video. We basically bullet pointed out like essentially everything that she was doing and then everything what well his name is Opie, that's the appointment setter, his name is Opie, what he was doing. And then basically we pretty much interviewed him and we got a lot of feedback from him. We just bullet pointed like everything that he was doing, looked at the system. Now together what we're doing is we're building out a custom video so that say like Opie leaves tomorrow or something along the lines of that, not only can another VA train another VA, but as soon as they come inside the business, they know exactly what to do. Like I think that's super important because all we're doing is creating like one video one time and then just being like, yo, like watch this video. It's kind of like watching those training videos before you get in like one of those like high speed race cars. It's like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, right? But that's essentially how we're setting it up.
Thank you for that, Mason. That's extremely valuable to know.
Yeah. And then when we're done with that video, by the way, I'll share it with you guys.
Sweet. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
that'd be cool.
Yeah. Cool, man. So that's pretty much it. I'm on, that's
Yeah.
our man. If you have more questions, just let us know, okay?
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. Billy, you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
How's it going, man?
Dude, it's good. How's it going?
Good, man. Sounds like so I'm just reading this now. How do you
Ready?
balance trying to build a niche funnel as well as my job, my production company with all of my current client workload has increased dramatically in the past month. I'm talking 65, 70. Geez, oh my God. Because to be honest, have to figure out cash flow because I have maxed out my credit cards to join the coaching program. I just have to get enough time to build everything on top of having a family as well. Yeah, man, I noticed um just kind of like speaking things out to ether, me and Mason, we keep a dib on you guys very close. Like I can tell if somebody misses a coaching session or XYZ, like I know, like I can feel it because I've done this so many times, like with Adam and Tony and all this. And like I noticed with you about a month ago, like some stuff was going on. And that's why you've probably maybe noticed with my language every Monday, I'm like, you good, man? I was getting a little bit worried. You good, you good, you good. And so I figured it was work was creeping up. Um, I guess my question to you is this is like what what do you think the solution is? Like walk me through you. I would assume that you've probably thought about solving this problem and like doing mental gymnastics yourself. And I'd be curious to hear like what's kind of brewing in your head already. What do you think the biggest problem is? I have an idea of what I think some of the problem is, but what do you think the biggest problem is? And then what do you think the solution is? And what do you think the solution is? Why do you think that's the solution? What do you think will happen if you deploy your solution?
Well, I think a lot of what I need to try and put more into my schedule is actual blocked out time to be working on all this stuff too. I think that's where I get kind of lost in the weeds is kind of like what Adam and Tony were talking about. Like I even with all my client work and stuff, I've subbed out some video editing and things like that. It's just gotten like I just got 15 clients that have just now all of a sudden have had nothing the last few months in this or like few months prior, but like this month has been just I've had every single one of my clients that I've had that over the last year that I've been working with consistently just reach out to me on all need stuff all at the same time. Was kind of just like one of those things too, is like I want to be able to continue to build this too, but I haven't blocked out any time. So I think that's kind of where my problem is I just haven't like I was like, oh yeah, I'll get to that today. And then it just kind of gets stuck in the background and I didn't block out any specific time for it to get stuff done. So it just kind of took the back burner for all the other stuff that's going on.
So when you say block out time, what do you mean by that specifically?
I
And
try to time block out stuff specifically for all everything that I do within the day so that because I get up at like 6 a.m. and I don't go to bed till like midnight, sometimes 1, 2 a.m. But I kind of block out most of my schedule a lot of the time. It just seems like things have just taken longer this last month than they typically do. And I just feel like just because there's a lot going on. That's probably why everything's taking a little bit longer than I think in my brain. So
what do
um
you what do you
I'm good.
what do you think I want to hear what you were saying. I didn't mean to interrupt, but my question to you, and maybe you can answer this as you're completing what you were about to say, which was going to be like, if you know that you have to block out time, what has been prohibiting you from blocking out time?
I just think priority of what's coming into because like I've only like I said in this like I've maxed out credit cards so I have no wiggle room left and kind of like what we talked about on my onboarding and stuff like I have no savings because I had like some medical stuff that happened with my kid last year so I have like no savings left so it's like it's priority of trying to make cash and pay for things right now and I know like kind of what like Tony was talking about like going for pennies and trying to get dollars but like I'm at the point in time like I just have no wiggle room right now so I'm just kind of what's taking priority is the clients of completing the work for clients that I already currently have so that I can be able to pay the bills and all the other things that I'm doing. So that's kind of why like the priority is like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll get to this. And then I'll get to a piece of it. But then I have other stuff that's like, oh, cool. Well, I need to get that project finished so I can get that paid and final, like all that stuff finalized and paid out. So
Do you feel like part of it is do you feel like part of it is like you get anxious and anxiety when it comes to building this stuff out? You're like, it's like I have to go do this thing. It's like, oh, and then it's like, is it going to be a challenge? I'm going to butt my head. I'm going to stumble, fall, try to figure this thing out. It's going to cause a lot of mental strain, and I'm already kind of sort of exhausted. Do you feel that way or no?
yeah, I feel that way probably most of the time because because there's just so much going on. So like my mental capacity is like maxed out by like 3/4 of the way through the day. And I'm
Mhm.
just trying to push to get extra stuff done. So
Yeah. And I the reason I bring that up is like for leading up until the phase that you're at right now, a lot of it is just like, copy and paste this, set this up. You're like, yeah, it's a little bit of work setting up the funnel, but it's not like you don't have to go into like, okay, what does the offer have to be? Like
yeah.
how do I have the right script? And it's a lot more mentally draining, the phase that you're in right now, for sure. And I can see how you might feel that way, where you're like, you get to this part of the day and you're like, I don't have the energy to go all in and figure this thing out. Am I kind of understanding that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I
So
just have I just have one question too. You said that all like I don't know if you said 10 or 15. I know you said one of the two. I know you said like a lot of people came to you all at once. So it's kind of like everything's on, everything's on all the table at one time. Do you think that do you think that the workload is going to continue to be like that for a long period of time? Or do you think this is kind of just like a short term, everything that just happened all at once and it's just kind of like so many things to do that you don't know how to prioritize? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's more of that. It all just kind of came all at once and it just kind of is
Yeah.
gonna do like a crazy month. Like typically this doesn't happen, but it's like my end of February all the way to March. Like I've had more clients reach out to me and I've made more money than ever before in the month of March and February than I have or like have more clients that I've bringing in the most money I've ever had with my video production company. So it's just kind of like it's been a crazy month, but I don't feel like it's going to continue to prolong because I've been doing this long enough to where it's like cool now
Right.
something's gonna equalize and it'll go back to being a little more normal.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's super important to label as well, because it's like, dude, we know you're a father, we know you're a busy dude. I know a lot of work just came in all at once. I know there's a lot of pressure on you, right? So I think that's super important to mention and just to kind of realize like, hey, like eventually all this work is going to start to like you're gonna eventually start to like check the boxes, then there's gonna be less boxes to check. You know what I'm saying? So I think just doing that or just getting that stuff done, I think that's gonna allow you to get more time done. But like I know this is probably the worst piece of advice that you're ever gonna get. I'm just gonna give it to you anyway because this is something I strongly believe in, is like just launch the niche funnel as soon as humanly possible, because the sooner you get that launch, like the faster you can get like a paid in full or something, and then you can like really relax. Because I know like right now you may have anxiety or like there's so many things to do, but like you made it through this entire process, and like I don't I don't think you're gonna fall off. Don't take it that way, but it's like this next phase for you is so important, and it's kind of like really starting to play the game, right? And it's like
Mm.
if you can just somehow figure out how to manage your time, or say something to your clients to give you one more day on a project and just really sit down and just be able to launch this niche funnel, I promise you within like just a month's time, like everything's going to be totally different. Like you've seen the process, you've seen everything that's happened through the 6 figures, 6 week funnel. Like now it's time to really slam and put money in your pocket doing that niche funnel. Right. And I think that's the process that Tony and Adam are in, because they've had this amazing transformation. But it's like once they've gotten that niche funnel down, it's like now we're playing the real game. We're starting to actually get paid in fulls, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So um I don't know if this is extremely helpful for you. I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but now, but hopefully that helps in terms of like, yeah, that probably was really bad advice of like, dude, just like just see if you can get it launched, right? But I think it's just realizing that like, hey, there's a lot of stuff on the table right now. You just somehow got to be able to get that done as soon as possible, because that's really how we can help you the most. You know what I mean? Because like I feel like I'm at a standstill. I can't help you the way that I want to help you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
the 2 months, thank you for that, Mason. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper and kind of piggyback off of some of the stuff that he said. Like, yes, like the thing is like and this, Billy, is like this is the thing, this is the money maker. But the question that we're asking is, I get that. I'm sold on that, Koshik. I'm sold on that, Mason. But like the question is how? How do I do the thing? How do I find the time? Right? How do I efficiently do this where I'm not pulling my hair out? Is that kind of like the main
Yeah.
thing? Okay.
Yeah, I just and I know that we've talked about like having like 3 hour try to do like 3 hours a day at this. It's just I haven't been able to get much of that. And I kind of feel like I'm at that point too where I've kind of gotten a little bit behind with even like some of the content to watch. So just kind of feel a little bit on that fact, like, cool, well, yeah, I know I have to do these things, but it's like, oh, at the end of the day, it's like, cool, I still have a bunch of stuff to watch and a bunch of things to try and get through before I even know what the next step is too. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so let's do this pop quiz, and we can do this together. So I sometimes in my experience, I don't know, like and I'm not saying anything. Some people, what they do is they say, I'm working 45 hours and really they're working 20, 30. And I'm not saying that about you. What I am saying is that I think working 65, 70 hours since February, going, 8 weeks, like that's crazy. And you got to be like a freaking machine to do it. That's like MJ sleeping 3 hours, crazy nonsense stuff. So it'll drive you nuts. And so sometimes what I come to find is that what it is truly is just a lack of like clarity of step by step what to do. And then all of a sudden, when you do that, you just have a whole bunch of anxiety goes away. And now you can really block out your time because you can be like, okay, I know step by step what I need to do. I think I can do these 3 steps this week on Monday. And then Wednesday, I think I can do these other 3 steps. I think it's just like having a clear plan of action. And that helps oftentimes. And the byproduct of that is that now suddenly you have time. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So let's try this, man. Let's try an exercise where I'd like to hear from you what you think. What I'd like to do with you is this. Ultimately, what I'm trying to get is like I'd like us to create some kind of a game plan, and maybe that'll help you. I think that's my theory. So I'm curious what's brewing in your head before I tell you like what I would suggest doing, because that'll kind of maybe even give me a sense of like where the anxiety is coming from, the stress is coming from. This will allow me to see what's brewing in your head. What do you think the first step is right now?
Well, I picked my niche officially on what I want to do. It's just now the thing I think kind of stresses me out a little bit is the offer too, because my mother-in-law is a permanent makeup artist. And so I just don't know, like I think that's a piece of it too, is like what to do for an offer that would work within the industry that people want.
Okay. So let's work it out. Right. So if you think so, it sounds to me like I picked out my niche. The next thing I got to be thinking about, Kaushik, is like what offer would really work for these people? Is that kind of what's brewing in your head? It's like, I'm putting this offer on a pedestal. What the fuck do I do now? And it's causing a lot of stress. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's solve the problem, right? So
Mhm.
how do we figure that out? What comes to your head in terms of like objectively, what must we do? What do you think?
Well, I want to see because I honestly don't even know what would be the best direction to go. Do we do um the highest paying permanent makeup thing? Is that where we would try and make an offer, or is like the most sought after permanent makeup like service? Is that where we would start even to make the offer, or am I going too far into the weeds on that?
When you say the offer, what exactly are you talking? Are you talking about like
Like,
offer or
so like
permanent
if
part or-
so if they're doing like the microblading the eyebrows or whatever, is that do we do it as a specific, like do we do it to that specificity, like hey, for this is specifically for microblading, that's the one offer, or do we do or does it have to be a specific service that they do that's something else? Because there's like eyeliner, there's like they do like the tattooing the lips and stuff too on top of that. Like, does it have to be a specific one of those services? And like, is there like a priority level that I could put that at for each one of those services, or am I thinking too narrow on this?
Yeah. So I'll maybe kind of like give you a little bit of momentum. So step one is we have to pick the brain of somebody who knows for sure, right? I don't know. This ugly monk doesn't know for sure. So what we can do is step one is book time to speak with aunt.
Mhm.
All right. Step two, what can we do is have you had a look at some of the questions, the research questions that we have?
No, not yet.
Okay, so step two, and hopefully this is gonna like start to remove some anxiety for you. Where is it? Step two is, so these are the questions that I came up with Noah for his uncle. And so I can give this to you. So, hey, what's the desired revenue range of people in your niche, hair salon owners? What is the profit range that they're making? How long have they been in business? What are their key desires? Why do we want to know what somebody's key desires are? So we can say in our ad, hey, is this what you're trying to do? Is this what you're trying to solve for? On the discovery call, we can lean into that. On the sales call, we can lean into that, right? For a lot of videographers, it's creating narrative pieces. It's creating maybe travel films for those kinds of people, right? Like those are the key desires. Maybe owning an RE. Okay, what's keeping you from achieving your desires? Okay, there's this huge thing I want to get. I want to get the RE, but like I got to make a bunch of money and I got to get a job and da da da. Okay, I can kind of figure out what's helping you from keeping you from doing that. What have you tried doing so far? So all this stuff can be used for marketing. What do they fear the most? What do you fear the most as a videographer? What can I say inside of my ad? Are you a permanent makeup artist and you're trying to do this, but the number one thing getting in your way is XYZ, and you want to dive in, but so much you feel this internal thing of XYZ. See, I'm like just like filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
So you want to ask them this question. So what I would do is, so pick niche. Actually, so step 2 is get questions from Kaushik. And then the next step is book a time to speak with your aunt, and then run through the questions. And then when it comes to the offer, here's my trick for the offer. Here's what you do. What you do is you basically, again, you got to tell the aunt, here's what, and I'm sorry, did you say it was your aunt?
It's my mother-in-law. It's close
Mother-
enough. I know what you're saying.
Mother-in-law, lovely lady.
Yeah.
Lovely lady, this is what I do. I am building out this agency and we're going to work with permanent makeup artists, and then we're going to help them generate leads and sales.
Yeah.
And so, lovely lady, here's something important. You might want to make a note of this, or you can watch this back. What is the number one service that you want to do more and more and more of? And you know what they're going to tell you? They're going to tell you something that you probably want to do as well. What do you probably want? You probably want for people to come to your house, you set up your camera, you record them, and you hand off like the footage or an SD card, or they even come with an SD. Actually, they come to your house with an SD card, you record, you get them their content, and they pay you like $500 an hour. That's probably what you want. No service delivery, no editing, no nothing. You know exactly what you want, right? Why? Because it's easy to do, high profit margin, et cetera, et cetera. So I bet you if you have a conversation with special lady, nice lady, she's going to be like, hey, this is exactly what I want to do. She's done the homework for you. So when you throw out an ad and you say, hey, do you want this thing? All the permanent makeup artists are going to be like, hell yeah, I want that thing. Okay. So that's one way to do it. Here's another way to do it. Another way to do it is, this is what I did with some people. This is what I did with Jorge. And you can do this on the spot with her. So you can take them and be like, okay, that's what you want. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to come right back to you, mother-in-law. And what you're going to do is, this is key. This is super important. This is important for everybody. Everybody pay attention. You make a multiple choice thing, A, B, C, D, and each of them is a headline. I will help you get 30 permanent makeup, laser, whatever, within the next 4 days, or you don't pay. I will get you whatever the next 20 days, or you don't pay. Da, da, da. And so you say, hey, based off of all these 4 right here, gun to head, and you have to pick one over and over again. You can't explore any other one. Which one is it? Oh, it's this one. It's this one, Billy. What you could do is, if you trust her and you think her judgment is good, boom, you're good. And maybe what you do is you make like 2 that are like no brain, like really good, and then one is like a stud and one is like average, just to try to get her to tell you what you think your theory is based off your marketing brain, what you know so far. And if you want to double check, what you do is maybe the next step is you speak with another permanent makeup artist to confirm and say, hey, if 3 people are saying A, this is for sure my headline. And so that would conclude, man, your research phase. Then what you do is you go into the next step would be Trello, type up scripts for ads, and a thank you page video script. And that thank you page just tells them, hey, congratulations on doing this thing. I'm super excited to have you. Da, 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 da. Make sure you attend the call and do XYZ to prepare for it. Very simple stuff you've probably seen a million times. Nothing crazy. It doesn't really matter. Honestly, what matters is the ad and the offer. Then what you're going to do is you're going to get feedback from myself and Mason. Then you go film. Then you submit like 10 to 20 seconds of it. So you're not going crazy, spending, all this time and energy editing all this stuff. 10 to 20 seconds of like your best ad. And then you launch ads. From there, you launch ads to a very simple counter. The next step was like building out the funnel. And it's really simple. It's the ad to counter page to thank you. That's all it is. Very simple. Very simple. Everybody has one. You copy and paste. You watch Amon's and just like copy. It's like a template. It's very simple. It's not going to take you a bunch of time. Then you launch your ads. And then from there, we just see if somebody bites. And that's it. That's it. This is it, man. And the idea is that by the time you get here, you're good. If not, then we revamp the ads, we revamp the marketing over and over until you get book calls. But so far, every single person, they follow the directions, they're actually getting book calls. Every single person so far. Just the key is this research part up here. That's the key.
Cool.
So now that you know this, now does this help a little bit in terms of like, okay, I have an idea of how long each of these things are. Perhaps, this week, Monday, I'm going to do X. Tuesday, I'm going to do X. Wednesday, I'm going to do X. Does this help a little bit, Billy?
Yeah, that helps a ton because I just kind of sometimes just feel like even if I just got lost and stuck on something specifically, and I think that kind of cleared up a lot of like that stuff in the back of my brain.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. Sometimes it's like hard to even know like what question should I be asking? What should I be focusing on? I know this is important, but I'm not entirely sure like what way. So do you have like as while we're here, based off of what I've shared with you, are there any questions that come to mind? Anything I can maybe clear up for you, dude?
No, I think where I was kind of getting stressed out is like I know a little bit about permanent makeup, I just don't know enough. So I was like getting stuck in my brain, like, well, I didn't even know what to offer. And now it's like I gotta talk to the experts in that industry to even know what would be an offer, and that just kind of relieves a lot of like that stupid block. It's just like, well, yeah, okay, cool. Like I just talked to the experts, just like if someone was going to ask me about video, I know all the answers.
Yeah.
So
You're not supposed to know, bro. Like it's not
yeah.
supposed you let them tell you. That's the best way to always do market research. Always let them tell you. And then you can go so far. So even in this lesson right I'm sharing with you, bro, you apply this to like when you're actually running ads for her, you like interview her customers, learn
Mhm.
from them. And now you know what kind of ads to run for them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just market research. And so maybe you can kind of also see like this is why I ask you guys all so many questions. I'm always trying to learn. I asked Mason just earlier, like, oh, talk to me about the VA stuff. How did you that work? How did you learn about that?
Yeah.
It's just asking questions and being inquisitive. You're not supposed to know the answers, bro.
Yeah.
So let's do this. I mean, with the time we have left, I mean, how about this? I know you're already busy, man. But maybe as we're talking through the rest of the coaching program, I'm sorry, our coaching call today, you can maybe message and say, hey, Kushik, here's my game plan Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can kind of write that out maybe, and maybe we can kind of like try to stick to that. With the amount of time that we have left, and I'll be flexible with you as well. Of course, I'll do everything I can. Mason will, we'll do everything we can to help you get this all done because I know we're inching on time.
Yeah. I can do that.
How do you feel?
Dude, I feel a lot better now. I feel a lot less stressed about stuff. So,
Good. Okay. You think you make it happen?
oh yeah, dude, absolutely. I work a lot already, so just figuring out moving some things around, I can make some things happen. So
Please remember to message me for the research questions. Okay.
I'll do that right now before I forget.
Perfect. Billy, anything else before I move on?
No, man, that was great. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'll circle back if you have more questions. You have to get going, whatever. Okay.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yep. All right. Who do we have next? Mr. Hill.
Hello,
What's going on, brother, man? How you doing?
I'm fantastic. Was a nice sunny day here, so can't complain.
Is it sunny and nice out there in New York, Mason?
It was actually pretty nice where I was. I was sweating in my car today while I was driving.
Let's go. I wore shorts today, so it's been a while since I've worn those. So yeah, it's pretty nice here too.
Awesome.
So questions. Let's hop into them, man. So would you love advice on who to target the new ad campaign and what demographic should be specifically prioritizing next once I click? Okay, so in terms of targeting, man, like where you're at, bro, like you just throw stuff in the ether. You just say things like weddings and then videography. So you can like do like flex targeting, right? So you say that they must meet wedding and then they must meet videography. There's also an interest also that's like wedding videography. There's literally an interest that is that. So you do that. Another option is, if you can get an email list of a bunch of wedding filmmakers somehow, right? Maybe you go inside of a Facebook group, maybe go inside Full-Time Filmmaker, for example, and just get a bunch of people to get you an email address. Like that's a cheat code. I've done that a few times.
And you think it would actually be like if I grab like 50 emails, 100 emails, that someone would be inclined to at least jump on a call, or I mean, what do you think?
So what I'm saying is like, okay, so here's what I was trying to get at is like the purpose of the email addresses is to create like a lookalike audience.
Oh, how do you correlate that with email addresses?
Yeah, so what you do is you go into Facebook and you just upload a CSV file of a bunch of emails, and then you just tell Facebook, hey, I want you to give me a lookalike audience of these emails. And so now you have an audience you can target, which is just like pretty much like you can be sure that's wedding filmmakers.
Facebook is smart enough to figure out like the email address associated with the Facebook account, what those people are interested in.
That's crazy. I never knew that. That's wild. So you could literally find people from like your program, for example, or people from other like wedding videography programs, and literally just like find that and target that group of people that are similar to them.
Yeah, you could probably like take like for example Andy Moss program. I'm sure there's some kind of AI software or something that will literally scrape all the people in his program's emails, and you could probably create a lookalike audience from that.
That's actually insane. That's some wild information. I'll definitely mess around with that, see what I can do.
You can do some other crazy stuff. This one's a little bit more advanced, but you can literally run YouTube ads to like somebody's your competitors websites. So for example, I could target micro content mastery or the Real Deal Video Strategist Club or full-time filmmaker. I can target people that visit their websites using
Wow.
YouTube ads. So that's something you can do as well. So it's like it's unlimited. So essentially, what I'm trying to get across to you is like, don't stress about this. I know you're not, but it's like, dude, there's a million ways to do this. You can do something that's been working for me is open targeting. That's never worked in the past. So literally, like if you're creative and you're copy, like the AI algorithm is so good, it's going to target the right person for you. So targeting is like, it's pretty much a walk in the park these days.
Okay. Awesome. That's everything I needed to know. That's great.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. So next, once I close the first client ever, before that, what do I need to provide immediately so that it feels cohesive once they are onboarded? I know this is vague, but I want your thoughts about how I go about this. Maybe Slack small course, yes. Help create their ad, run it for them. Discovery call, closing. Yep, you got it pretty much, man. It's like, so I would highly recommend a Slack. I would highly recommend having some course material. Um, I would create the ad for them for this part.
And put it like through my ads manager.
Um, yeah, that's a good question. Is
Because that, I mean, that's definitely something that could be tested, but like, I don't know,
yeah,
starting out, like, I guess it reduces wiggle room to just do it through mine and say, okay, these are the results I got. Um, but like, and then like I said, like we talked about on the previous call, like some people might not, that might turn some people away and you know, they might not be as interested in moving forward. So
yeah. Part of me almost is like on purpose, you just kind of let people do whatever. So on purpose, sometimes you run it for yours. So like on purpose, you lead with, okay, we're gonna get the ad set up and nobody's gonna think anything of it. And for those people, you just set it up on your ad account. And the people that are like, hey, can you set it up in mine? Those people have a little bit more buyer sophistication. They have a little bit of knowledge. And for those people, say, yeah, sure, we'll go and set it up for you. And the reason you're doing this is because you want to learn. Because you want to learn. The truth is that I personally would never want to run ads for my ad account. I'm not going to sit there. I'm not saying this to scare you, but I've seen so many agency owners go to the grave for this one thing. And this is what happens to a lot of them. The literally seven-figure agency owners. They run all the ads from their ad account and their ad account gets hacked into and they lose like 100 grand overnight.
no way.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the problem with this. So if you run ads from your ad account, you can run into that potential problem. That's why I don't like to centralize everything. So everybody runs ads from their own ad account. I'm not going to put myself or anybody else at jeopardy.
Okay. And then, yeah, that makes sense.
But the problem with that is what? The problem with that is it's not sticky.
Yeah,
So you have to find a different way to make things sticky.
definitely. I like how you said just kind of like let some of them do it on their own. So like depending on who I get through the funnel and who actually wants to move forward, I guess, depending on how sophisticated they are. But assuming they need help with this, they probably don't have a ton of experience with it anyways. And then this just popped in my head before we answer the other questions is what should that specific ad look like? So the one that I showed you, the one that is converting for me, that's like $3 per lead. is my face with that specific offer, and that converts. But it's not like the 6 figures in 6 weeks where you say, looking for 5 businesses in New York, like how do I make it so that each person who comes in, each client who comes in is actually getting those results up front? Or I guess that, I mean, yeah, what do you think about that before I get ahead of myself?
Yeah. So what I used to do is like, let's say for example, Ethan, right? Let's say you're hopping, I'm gonna run ads for you. I'm literally gonna use my opt-in application thank you page. And like what I would do is like I would have a unique URL that went to this funnel. So it'd be like www.marketingagency.com/Ethan opt-in, Ethan application, Ethan thank you. So you had 3 unique URLs. And then what I would do is I would just like tweak up the link here, which would take people to their Instagram versus my Instagram. But then everything else pretty much remained the same. On the opt-in, I would just change up like the state, the location. So you can do the same thing. It's like somebody hops in, let's say his name's Ethan, like yours. You would build them you would copy and paste like your opt-in application thank you page. It would take you like 2 minutes to do that. You make some slight tweaks here. You like plug in their video work, for example, and that's it. And you just let it rip, and they'd have their own unique URL. I don't know if this makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, does it make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. I kind of meant because that makes sense. Of course, you want to have like the landing page, the application page, and the thank you page. That's like pretty standard. But I mean, like from the actual ad campaign, like should I say, go ahead and record this video of yourself with this offer, or do you want to reduce and limit those extra details and just have like a single photo ad? Like again, that
Yeah.
definitely requires testing, but like what do you think about that?
That's what I'm saying is like, so that's what I'm trying to get across to you is that what I would do is because it's my opt-in page, application, thank you page, even if I'm running ads for you, Ethan, guess what? On the opt-in page, it's a video of me talking. And I say, my name is Kaushik, not Ethan.
So
So
you're
your
suggesting I put my face, I run the ad with my face. You don't think they're gonna get like misled or like, oh, this is not cool? Like,
don't worry about it for now. You're not there yet.
okay.
You
And that
you
brings,
you
sorry.
you need proof of concept and all this stuff right now. Like you need to just prove that this even works. You need to first thing is like we just need to like see if we can get book calls. That's the
Yep.
problem.
That's the
Two,
start.
we see if you can even communicate effectively to get them to like salivate and buy in. 3,
Mhm.
now it's like, okay, now let's actually launch some ads. And then the way you need to do it is you just need to deliver the leads for them and then give them coaching. They don't need to even know what kind of ads you're running. They don't need to know what kind of funnel you're running. They don't need to know jack shit about that. They
Sure.
don't need to know any of that. You can create your course material and you can have like diagrams that say, hey, we have an ad with an opt-in, and then it goes to this page, and then this page, your work is presented here. So throughout the funnel, they're going to get to see some of your work, but they're not going to be fixated on your work. The way ads work, they're not fixated on watching a bunch of your content. It's not like warm traffic, word of mouth. These are people from ads. So here's what you have to do to actually nurture and sell them. And that's what you're going to be able to like, you're going to coach them and consult them and provide course material to get that. And then you're going to run that for like 1, 2, 3, 6 months and see where the issues are, and you're going to plug in those holes down the road. And then down the road, maybe if you come to run into this issue where they're like, hey, Ethan, I want to see the ad, I want to see the funnel, or whatever they say, if they say anything, then maybe you change the program to get them to film their own content like we did with you. Maybe down the road you do that. And so we're still testing out this, even traveling thing. Like we don't, like you got maybe lucky with it. We still have to like confirm. We have a bunch of work we have to still do.
Sure.
We're not quite there yet.
No, absolutely. I totally agree. Yeah, that makes total sense. And then just like forward thinking, like assuming this works out the next like 6 months, the next 12 months, I'm thinking kind of far out right now. But like, what if it's a year from now and like I have a handful of clients, I made some money, I'm satisfied, and I just want to like cut it down and like start over? Like, do you think it's a waste of time almost to go down this path and spend all this time when it could be spent somewhere else? Like again, I'm just thinking forwardly. What are your
Are you
thoughts?
talking about cutting this down and building up another agency or a different business model or different business venture? What do you mean?
Yeah, just like later down the line, like I don't know, what if it just doesn't work out in the next 6 months, 12 months, and then I'm caught out in the open, like, oh shit, what should I do now? Like I'm trying to reduce risk is essentially what I'm trying to do, right? So
Go give me a little bit more details about that. Like, what do you mean? Like, the words are a little bit vague for me to understand, like, what you mean, like, oh, I'm caught in this thing. Like, I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know what you mean by like that, but like more importantly, what I mean is like, I understand like shutting this down. I get that, and I have an answer for you. That's easy. It's an easy answer. My question to you is like, are you talking about shutting the agency down and then doing a different niche like chiropractors, dentists, what have you? Because if so, I have a specific answer. Now, if you're going to tell me like, okay, shutting this down and then maybe I'm going to start a crypto venture capitalist business, for example, then I'm going to have a different answer for you.
sure, yeah, sure.
So what do
Yeah,
you mean like
yeah,
shutting do something different? What do you mean by that?
yeah, good question. I guess the first one is like I still want to do the agency regardless. I guess transitioning from this to a different like agency strategy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if that's the case, I mean, dude, I literally had this idea like 2 days ago and I caught myself stopping myself. I was like, dude, I'm gonna start this agency and this particular niche, and like I had to personally stop myself. I'm like, it doesn't make sense for me. But like I was like, as I was thinking, I was like, oh, here's what I'll do. I'll just have to I'll just get up and running. I'm not even using English. What I'm trying to get across to you is that it's a simple process. You literally just shut down what you're doing and you just build something new. It's that simple. It's not
Okay.
like you just stop running ads for your wedding filmmaking stuff and you just run ads for a different niche. Hey, are you so and so? Are you a permanent makeup artist that wants XYZ and you're still bill these clients? It's very simple. You just switch from one niche to another.
Sure. I gotcha.
Does that answer your question? And also like so the answer is like so your question of like how do you do it? You just shut it down, you start a new thing. That's it. And you reach out to your existing customer base, and you just have a quick tell them, hey, here's what we're doing. That's it. And to be a nice guy, you just give everybody access to all the course material. That's it. And honestly, if your stuff works and you help people make an ROI, they're gonna be grateful. They're gonna have lifelong things that they can walk away with. If you're doing more of like a done for you where you're guarding the funnels and everything, you can walk away and just say, hey guys, here's the funnels, here's exactly what we used to do. Just take it and run with it. So they can
Mhm.
feed themselves. If that's like an ethical thing for you to feel good about, if you're wondering like people are gonna get rubbed the wrong way, just give them the fucking farm. If you plan on exiting and doing something else, give them the fucking farm that nobody will complain. I promise you. Two, should you do this or is this a waste of time? Whatever. I kind of like made my argument like a few weeks ago where I told you that this is the best thing you could possibly do. But if you believe that there's potentially a better niche or another niche, I still think this is the best thing you can do because it's like I was watching this video by Hormozy like a few days ago. It's a really good video. And they just kind of had a sit down, black background, just asked him a bunch of questions for like an hour and a half. And he was talking about how in Slumdog Millionaire, have you guys seen Slumdog Millionaire? Have you seen that, Ethan?
No, I haven't, fortunately.
Okay.
I heard of
So
it. I haven't watched it though.
really good movie. So basically it's kind of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Like you know that TV show?
Yes, yeah, I do
And
know that.
so Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You sit down, they ask you 10 questions, they get harder and harder and harder. And this Slumdog Millionaire story, like every single question, like question one, question two, the whole movie, the premise of the movie was it was just like explaining some bad shit that happened to him. So for example, question one is like, which one of these snakes are venomous? This snake, this snake, this snake, this snake. And then the movie played to him like basically getting bit by like a venomous snake where he almost died. And so he knew the answer because of life's events. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
question two, he knew the answer. Why? Because he got fucked in some way in life. Question three, he knew the answer. He got fucked in some way. So he basically paid the price throughout his life to answer all 10 of those questions.
gotcha.
And so
Okay.
what Ramsey was saying was that a lot of people, they look at life and they look at like these bad things that are happening to them. But what if they're just getting ready to win the show of the lifetime of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And so what I mean by that, the reason I'm sharing this whole thing with you is perhaps building this wedding filmmaking agency is part of your story for the next thing, that next big thing that you're going to do. So doing this and playing the game on easy mode and building all these skills perhaps can set you up for that next vehicle you're going to be in.
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely just needed to hear that from you for sure. It's because I'm graduating college and like I feel like now the stakes are higher, right? So I just feel like I really, really want shit to work out. So I want my time to be as best used as possible, like where I'm putting my time and energy. So yeah, that was kind of the root of the question because I really just want to be maximizing my time and my energy.
Define that. What is the best use of your time or energy? What do you think is the best? Like, what would make something the best use of your time and energy? What would make it the best use of your time and energy? How do you know?
By what I mean, by taking action and failing and then getting back up and trying something new or keep working at it. So
I would say that I would say that if we break up life into increments, right? Like we have 24 hours in the day, we can break them into hours, minutes, whatever. I would say that the idea is to take every waking moment where we can actually work and squeeze out the best version of ourselves. Ascend. That's it. That's the entire purpose of everything, just to be better. And so if you have this time of your age and where you're at right now, it's like, shouldn't you just focus on just being a better version of yourself? Shouldn't you just focus on building better skills and being just a better version of yourself, right? That's it. That's it. Just be the best fucking Ethan possible. And what I'll tell you is that this business model will force you to do that because we're just getting started, right? Creating this ad, launching it. You know, you had like your natural ability to write and be a little bit persuasive to create that video. But then what's going to happen when it comes to like nurturing these people? What's going to happen when it comes to selling these people? There's a certain skill level there, right? And those are all things that you're like, well, I've kind of sort of done that. But then what is that next skill level? Mason shares something really interesting, which is like he coaches his coaches, and then those people he assigns a VA. That's a skill set. That's a very managerial skill set.
mhm.
So what's going to happen when Ethan, you're down the road and like your shit's working and you're like, now I need to train a sales rep. And so first there's Ethan that's selling, right? First there's Ethan is selling to people, and then there's going to be Ethan is training this sales rep who's selling to people. And then you're going to have maybe this sales rep, this sales rep, this sales rep, and then you got a manager here, and then now you need to train this manager. So you need to build the skills of you train the manager who's training the sales reps, who's selling the people. That's a lot of skills, and that's a lot of personal development. And it's like you can do that in a niche like solar, where like you're just trying to figure out how to get people results, or you can do something in wedding filmmaking where you like it's going to be way easier for you to develop these skills, which are very difficult skills to build, anyways.
Makes sense. I hear you. No, definitely. Yeah, everything kind of builds on top of itself and compounds. So definitely.
So you asked that question of like, you know, what should you have? Definitely should have a Slack, definitely should have some course material. I think you should create their ad for them. And then again, we talk about sticky versus not sticky. I think you just play by ear and see what happens and just learn from it. See what works. Yeah, discovery call to a sales call, right? Discovery call, qualifying call, and then take that to a sales call. And then after you close, then you onboard them. And then after you onboard, they officially start. And so when I say start, what I mean by that is in your particular case, you would basically, you know, set up the ads, the funnel, everything, and then maybe have a video for them to watch. Like everything has been launched for you. Watch this video. This will show you exactly what you need to prepare for. Here's exactly what's going to happen within 24 hours.
Right. I'm a little confused about that because when I said like the Slack, the course material, how does that lead into then onboarding them again? Because that's just like like a full circle.
Wait, say that one more time.
Like you said, onboard them after they close. Like, oh, you're just saying sorry, I was confusing myself. You're saying so then teach them how to do the onboarding and teach them how to do that sort of stuff, is what you're saying? No?
What I was walking through was from left to right of like a journey of somebody that you'll take them through.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
So they're going to basically, you know, you're going to sell them and then you're going to onboard them, like have an onboarding conversation, set proper expectation, all that stuff. And then maybe what you're going to do is you're going to go out there, you're going to get their ads launched within 24 hours. And then maybe you're going to tell them, hey, go give this video a watch, which is going to show them exactly what they need to do to prepare for the leads coming in. Or maybe you'll have that inside the course for them to watch.
how do I decide what goes into a course like that? Because that, again, you know, it doesn't have to be, we were talking on the last call, it doesn't have to be like super fancy, you know, it can just be Loom videos and whatnot, which totally makes sense. Are you able to, it doesn't have to be on this call, but to give some sorts of guidance in terms of what the hell I'm supposed to put in coaching calls or not coaching, like coaching videos?
Yeah, man, it's a
Can
process.
I share what I did?
Yes, please.
Really quick, Mason, I just to show you like what is involved. Like this is like the Trello that we have right now. There's like 7 steps, 8 steps. And like I'm looking at people like Billy And like, and I'm doing this like on purpose. Like I look at Billy and I see the amount of stress he has and all this stuff, and I'm working through stuff with him. And it's like I had this Trello process. Okay, I had this Trello process, and maybe I don't know how many people I took through it, like 5, 10 people, I don't know, to build out the niche funnel, right? The process you went through, maybe 10 people. And it wasn't perfect. I know it wasn't perfect because I'm spending time and energy in here doing things that I'm like, I don't need to be. I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again. That's the trick, is like the question is like, how many times am I repeating myself? Am I repeating myself over and over again? It's one thing if it's like a complex topic, it's complex and it's nuanced, but it's another thing if it's like I'm just repeating the same shit over and over. And so now this is what I've been working on this past weekend. I'm redoing it. Step one, watch this. Step two, do this. And I'm literally like, this says step 7, but it's after step 3. It's because I'm mentally moving things around to make it make sense. So, and this goes back to what Adam and Tony said, like having things in order. And Mason said is like trying to be deliberate about like step by step, what does somebody need to do to find success?
Sure.
So you'll have something and then you'll re-scratch and build another thing. That's normal. It's normal. It's supposed to be that way. Yeah, it's not going to be perfect. And the way I like to think about it, here's the important thing. And I don't know if I ever explained this to you. Don't call I mean, you can call yourself an agency owner, but like the way I like to think about it is a course is info organized. Course is info organized. A coaching program, and that's how I would just like be thinking about it if I were you. Again, you call yourself an agency owner, whatever, is like you create a transformation change. Did I ever go over this with you?
Yeah, you did last call.
Point A, point B, what do they need? And so you're try to step into their shoes, Like, okay, I'm having a discovery call, I'm being sold. What all do I need? I need onboarding. And then I need this. What all do I need to ultimately have my first booked discovery, wedding film, destination wedding film? What all would I need from Ethan? Try to put yourself into their shoes and put the stuff together. It's not gonna be perfect. You're gonna revamp it. That's how I would do it. Do you have questions? And I know Mason had something he wanted to share with you.
I'll let Mason go and then I'll ask the questions.
Yeah. So when I first started like my coaching program, I didn't have a single lick of any content or course material. I had nothing.
Sure.
And the reason I did that is something that's so golden that Kashik said that like definitely I 100% agree with, was like, you don't know what to put in the course. Like you have a general idea and you could probably bullet point some things, be like, okay, like how do you run this ad and stuff like that? Like, yeah, I understand that, right? But the thing is, like, before you even go and create that content and just assume how you're supposed to create those videos, what I did is I just took as many people as humanly possible and then really did a lot of one-on-one coaching and recognized the patterns of saying the same things and then being like, huh, it would probably be a lot easier on me if I went and created content about this thing. So when there's a question about it, I can say, yo, go watch this thing. So I think it's in terms of like figuring out the pattern. And not only that, like recognizing the pattern, but then articulating it in a very specific way that hits with most people. Like there's a many ways that you can say the same thing, or a different thing that means the same thing. And I kind of recognize that. And then once I realized that, like, once I was saying the same things, or once I was saying different things about the same topic, right? And then basically that hit the material for them that was like, oh, that makes sense for me. Then that's when I created the course material and then made analogies, etc., that made sense with most of the people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, get
That's what I did. But I think
experiences.
literally what's so golden is like you don't know what to put in the course yet. Like, yeah, you can put some general stuff in there, but like once you have your like first 3 to 5 clients, you'd be like, oh, I'm having the same conversation over and over and over again. And then you'll be like, I know exactly what I need to put right here.
And so that's what essentially you did. You brought a few on, you did that personal like consulting, coaching, and then have you built out your videos yet? Have you built out that coaching yet? Or are you still working on that? Or
I'm
like
literally still working on it. Yeah. Like I have probably like 5 to 10 videos in there, but I probably need like 10 to 20 more.
and
But
so
like, that's all I need.
when you jump on a call with them initially, and like of course you have your guarantee or offer, what else do you say? Like what else do you include in the package? Like what's their, what do they get after they pay you essentially?
So what do they get after this? Okay.
And
So
what
I gotcha. So are you saying like in my particular program, or what do I think you should do?
Yeah, I
I
mean
would,
both. I'd love to hear what you do, and then I mean maybe what you would suggest I should do in my situation.
Mason, I think that if you explain the licensing profit share thing, it's going to be more confusing than it needs to be. I think explaining
Yeah.
will be done with you.
So you're doing something else completely different. Like we don't have to get into if it's not super like compatible with what I'm working on, but
It's a little bit different, but again, it's like if I were you, I wouldn't go and stress out about making course material and content stuff like that. It's like, dude, you haven't even booked the discovery call yet. Like we're talking however long it takes you to build out the funnel, etc. Right? So it's like I wouldn't even worry about it just yet. In terms of like onboarding, like I think if we revisit this conversation when you start getting your first calls, because there's always kind of like a 24-hour time span between like closing the deal versus your onboarding. So I think if you reach out to us then, we'll have like a way better steps instead of just telling you what to do and just like you forgetting right now or something along those lines.
gotcha.
I have a wedding program. I don't know if I ever told you that, Ethan.
You had mentioned it, yeah, yeah. I never
So
seen it to it though.
I just like walk you, like, see how this is coming soon? And I have people paying for this. So
How old is this video?
yeah. So we have a welcome, which nothing is there. We have a learning the fundamentals of the business model with the nothing there. But what I do have is I have a 7 to 9 figure machine thing. I have this video, which is like the easiest versus the hardest people to close, pros and cons of each. And so you have referrals, friends, family, because I'm trying to say, hey, focus on like building your business off of for like stuff that you obviously know more than I probably know about when it comes to wedding filmmaking. So that's like literally just general fundamentals of leads, how to brand your stuff the right way. How to like what kind of content works for a wedding filmmaker. And then I have how to acquire your clients through Facebook ads. So for me, this was a done with you type of offer. So I'm not trying to make this, I wasn't trying to make this super sticky. So I basically explained, here's what our funnel looks like for wedding filmmakers, if 30,000 feet view the funnel. And I'm going through this fast. You can watch this back if you need to. A crash course on how Facebook ads just works. And again, I'm just telling them the bare minimum that they need to know. Key performance indicators. So what do your numbers should be? What should your numbers be from your funnel? Create your creative. Again, it's a done with you. So I'm showing them how to create the ad, how to convert your social media into like a business social media, how to set up your ad, how to create your custom audiences. Again, as everything I'm going over right now is just like setting up your ad, how to
Yeah.
obtain your. Okay. So all this section was like how to basically set up your ads. Then I go over here's how to actually like the first thing that you need to know is like how do I brand myself? The first thing is like, how do I do this? What is this business model? How do I brand my social medias and stuff? Okay, how do I set up ads? And then the next thing is like, now that I have ads set up, how do I actually like convert these people? So again, I'm just going in order. So it's like, here's how to uptake their phone number from the messenger conversation. Here's how to make sure they show up to your discovery call. Here's how to conduct your discovery call. I have literally myself doing discovery calls and sales calls. And then what you must do before your sales call, how to position your offer during the sales call, sales mastery, there's nothing there. Um, Demo sales calls. So they see me and they see our other filmmaker in action, like closing deals. Um, and then we have Facebook groups. So it's another strategy that we use in order to help them get more deals close. And then an FAQ section. And this is like, I just like build this out as time progresses.
Mhm.
So guess what? They get this, they get Slack with me, and they get one-on-one with me. That's it. So I'm already doing it. So just do what I do.
Okay.
Do that.
Okay. Makes
So
sense.
yeah, very simple stuff. And again, this says coming soon, all this stuff, because like Mason said, I don't even like if I got a crap ton of wedding filmmakers that wanted to join and I was like, a lot more committed to this, like a lot of this stuff wouldn't say coming soon. But as you can see, like we have people that come in, they pay a good amount for this stuff right here and it gets some results.
Amazing. And do you don't guarantee results for that or kind of what's your
I just
specific, you know?
same thing as everything, same thing. 10K, we'll get you 10K. We'll help you make an ROI, or we'll help you get to 10K per month. At worst case, we'll help you make an ROI. You're not leaving the program until you make an ROI. That's it.
Got it. Beautiful. Makes sense. And
So
then
pretty much what I have, do that, like, and you'll be fine.
Amazing. Okay. Um, and then my next question was from earlier. If I'm running it with like my face to like their work and whatnot, what's stopping me from just taking those calls and closing it for them? And they
Yeah.
just give me like 5K, whatever, to book them 5 weddings or whatever the hell. And then they just
I've actually been thinking about that. I was actually thinking about like how
that's a crazy cheat code.
yeah,
Like,
I was thinking about, so let's say for example you had like let's say you had like one filmmaker per state and you weren't doing the destination stuff. Like you were just helping them run ads for their own location.
yeah,
Uh, I realized that like you can't have like 5 videographers in like the state of like Idaho, for example, because they would all compete with each other and it would like crush your business. It would crush everybody else. They would cannibalize themselves. So I was like,
yeah.
you might, the way you would do it is you'd have like one business partner per state. And I was like, okay, you can teach them and do it, or you can just do it yourself and close the deals and just give them a percentage. You can do that as well. So there's nothing stopping you from doing that if you wanted to do that and position the offer that way.
Because that reduces a lot of error. And like, once you have conversion rate settled and you have, a certain amount per sales call, cost per sales call, whatever, once that's all dialed in, like,
Here's the other thing is it, like and I'm sure you know this is like there are those big ass wedding production companies that they just close a bunch of weddings and then they just hire out videographers like that. You can fucking do that too.
I don't want to do that. That's because I hear every single day. One of the most unique things that at least I get, just like because I take a lot of time and craft into each of the films, is like, oh, like we looked at one of them, they were super affordable, but they felt like soulless, they felt heartless, like there's not a lot of love and attention in each of those films. So I definitely.
So what's the difference between that versus what you just suggested, which is like you get a lead and you close the deal yourself?
Well, because then I just hand it off to them and they pay me for 10 bookings or for 5 bookings or something. Like, again, I'm just like, I don't even know if that would make sense or work out, but like just like handling it for them and then I don't deal with it. Like this is what I'm saying? Like maybe that doesn't even make any fucking sense, but
So in the
uh,
first case, it's you're the agency, you're running all the ads, and then all the clients think you're the client and you're outsourcing stuff. Versus in your case, you're saying, I am closing a deal and then I'm going to do a handoff to each of these people, and then you're going to send the client over with them as well.
yeah, you're good. Sorry, give me 1 second. I gotta move around 1 sec.
We stopped doing weddings entirely like 4 or 5 years ago because it just wasn't worth our time. But I held on to an amazing like editor and basically a setter who like gave us the work and she edited it all, handled all the bride stuff, everything. We literally just like got paid like somewhere between $1,200 to $1,800 a night to hand off a card to her, and it was fucking beautiful. And everyone loved it. And I think the problem is that those kind of agencies are hiring bad quality videographers who don't know how to film weddings, and they're having like a bad taste in their mouth because they like see Ethan and they get like whoever, his lesser part is. But when they have like a high caliber editor slash producer that's bringing in high caliber videographers and drone makers, everybody's happy, and including me and our team, because like we don't our my biggest thing is I didn't want to freaking edit weddings, dude. Fuck editing weddings is the worst thing in the world. But like getting paid like $1,200, $1,800 to go like party with people from 2 to 10 and then get a bunch of free booze. Yeah, dude, I'm in, like every night. So we have a great thing going for like 3 or 4 years. And like I literally like I don't want to turn that off. So I just wanted to bring that up to him. I don't think he heard it, but um that's my take on like the setting. I think as long as like the person who's setting it sets the expectation right and hires the right person, like it's golden. Like it won't stop. It's been working for us for years.
I agree. I work with a company like that as well. It's interesting. You can slice the pie, like minor tweaks in terms of like the structure of the wedding production company. So I don't know. We'll see. Um, see what he wants to do. Thank you for sharing that. I'll ask him to watch this part back so we can hear your take on that. Okay,
Back.
so oh, there he is. Okay. Um,
Sorry
I
about
don't know.
that.
Tony just no, you're good, man. Tony just shared some stuff in terms of his background. And so if you want to listen back to this part again, you just kind of talking about like his experience. Maybe Tony, if you just want to tell him real quick, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we did weddings for a long time getting started and like pretty predominant in our area. And then this person who's like an amazing videographer, editor, kind of like carved her niche as like a setter, you know? So basically she moved to Virginia. We're down here in North Carolina, and she gave us all of our weddings for North Carolina. And like, as long as she presented it that, hey, I have this guy who's amazing, and she gave my credentials just like you would for an FVC. It was like, he's worked with Mr. Beast and works on the Outer Banks and The Summer I Turned Pretty. Like, he's the shit. Like, as long as you're making sure that's the right person, like everybody's happy. So I would pull in like 1,200 to 1,800 a night, just me, and she would pull in like 3 to 5 grand and like be happy just editing on her ass and taking care of her baby. And it worked out like so well, and it's still working out. Because we really didn't want to do any more like front end stuff with brides or back end stuff with edits. That was just like too much for us and not worth the hassle, right? And it's maybe a little bit different than what you're talking about, but I just know from experience it's doable to like sort of set someone in a different place as long as you can like vouch for their credentials before you're like, he's good. Like they're buying you, but you have to make sure you're finding you or better as the counterpart that you're sort of like setting for them, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. And that's a sweet gig that you had working out. You didn't have to do any of the front end or the editing. So that's
It's
cool.
so bad.
Yeah.
So good. Like every summer, I mean, we live in the coastal North Carolina town, so we're a tourist destination, and wedding season starts in like a month and it goes until October. And we pick what we can get. I think we probably have like 3 this summer. Usually when we were really crushing, it was like 10. And man, I loved it. And we met the bride in the morning, we said goodbye at night, and that was it. And then maybe we get like a text like a few weeks later how awesome it was. And it's so much better than like dealing with bridezillas on the front and the back end.
Definitely. I hear you for sure. No, that's a great strategy. I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you.
Yeah, in terms of and you might have more questions. I'm just answering these really quick for you, and if you have some more, I'll happy to answer them. Are there any tips in terms of closing first client? My tip would be to watch the video and the value drops if you haven't yet. In terms of my sales script, that's
Yeah.
something Adam and Tony swear by. Say, that's what they're using for a lot of their sales calls. And the last thing is something along the lines of, they'll most likely understand this, you're just starting out, and so. I do have thoughts on this one. Don't let them know that you're just starting out ever. Never, ever, ever. Never, ever, 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 ever. They have to feel like that you're selling your 50th client for sure. Never ever do that ever.
How do you do that if like I don't have any client testimonials or like any um I don't know, just like any proof of any previous clients before myself?
Yeah. And so what we do is you do what you need to do in terms of your marketing. Okay. That's what you have to do. And then eventually you will replace that material with actual client work down the road.
Mhm.
I love Aaron's source of death. I'm just going to say something too, and then you can fill in the gap. In the funnel that he has, if you scroll down, there's a video of a guy that says, "Hey, Aaron, help me make 250K this year in my business." That guy is not a medical spa owner. That guy is Aaron's business partner,
Mm.
and he hasn't swapped that video out yet, and it still works. It doesn't affect anything in his business.
Fair enough.
So you need something as a placeholder for this stuff to even work. And then because you are who you are, because your stuff already fucking works, as soon as you can, you're going to replace it. So you're going to be ruthless about collecting testimonies and all that stuff at the very beginning. So we're talking about two different things. We're talking about marketing. In terms of marketing, that's how you handle that. In terms of sales, that still holds to be true, which is like you speak as if they are your 50th client, or else they will not take you. One, they might not sign up with you. And then two, if they even do sign up with you, they're going to be a pain in the ass. They're going to be such a pain in the ass that you're going to be like, you yourself are going to maybe tell yourself a story of like, dude, this agency game is not worth it. Why? Because you're going to have terrible experiences.
Definitely,
You're
that
gonna
makes sense.
Yeah, so if they have a terrible, if you don't put yourself on this pedestal, like they're not gonna respect you. If they don't respect you, they're not gonna have the best experience. They're not gonna treat you the best way. And if you don't have a good experience, you're gonna quit.
That was one thing about the like onboarding, the sales process um of the 6 figures in 6 weeks, because like they were like, wow, like you have this whole like sales and onboarding. I'm like, yeah, I know, like been doing this for yeah. So that makes total sense. And then like in terms of like creating the sales call and like that layout and that template, um, how do you suggest going about that? Because of course it's going to be much different than the 6 figures funnel. So I mean, how do other people go about that? What do you suggest? What do you advise in that regard?
What do you mean?
Like when you jump on a sales call, on a Zoom call, and you present the pitch that we all presented, that we all had to close some clients on, like what is that gonna look like for this specific offer? I know that like, of course, you want to have some information, you want to have that all sort of stuff, but like, what does that look like? What should be specifically put in there to, I guess, convert?
Did you watch this one? I don't know if you watched. I just want to make sure before I say anything. Like, did you watch the video I'm referring to? Do you know which one I'm going to right now?
I watched the one, the like hour long, hour and a half one, um, of that you did walking through your sales process, but that's still different because this isn't talking about like agency and getting like, I mean, it is getting clients, but like it's still it's a different angle, it's a different perspective, right?
I think it's, I mean, very similar. I think that the best one of the somebody you can talk to right now might be Tony and Adam because they tweaked it. So maybe they can share with you how they tweaked this to make it work for the recent video gig that they closed. I would assume that's what you guys did, Tony, Adam. You guys just tweaked this and made it work for that.
Yeah, I mean, we went in with a funnel offer, basically, right? It was a metal manufacturing company, and we in with the mindset that we were going to sell them on a funnel. And we quickly kind of realized in like the discovery call phase that their website was lacking. Their Google My Business had like 2 reviews, and they're like a $5 million, a year like company. So for them to close like a $500,000 to $1 million deal with a shoddy ass website, we weren't really feeling. So we had to like kind of backtrack and um recreate like like basically their digital doorstep, right? We're like, hey, you need a new digital doorstep before we send people to it because it looks like shit. It's kind of like a real estate agent. They're like, you need curb appeal, this is your curb appeal. So essentially we use this to me, the key things that we took away from this were the beginning and the end. The beginning and the end are freaking so important, that like the purpose of these calls, the process, the question, and you walk them through. You're just basically holding their hand the whole time. You're in control the whole time. It's not like a discovery call where they keep interrupting you, asking how much it is. And then the back end, Kaushik, if you can go to the bottom of that's the other like thing that's just so money for us.
Part was it
Because
here?
that was my biggest struggle. No, like this is what's going to happen next. We're going to approve of you. Do you kind of approve of us? I want a yes or no, and this is the hell yeah, hell no, hell yeah, hell no phase. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking?
Yeah. So basically you go through the discovery and then after the end of the discovery, like, okay, I think I can help you. Here's what happens next. Or are you talking about like before the transaction, you're like, okay, you're gonna give me a hell yeah, hell no. Okay. Yeah.
Before the transaction. And that was my biggest struggle too, Ethan, was like I would get like so money to the point like I'm like an hour in, I'm like, I got this, I got this. And I just start fumbling right when it was time to ask for money. And that's something that like didn't happen to me with videography. Like I already had that like on the back. I could have like done that in my sleep, right? I just knew how to quote stuff. But yeah, that was like the two takeaways with like the beginning and the end, and like you can just fill in the middle.
Okay. So it's kind of just like do your best to swap it out as you see fit and make it uh relatable and relevant to, what you're specifically selling.
I mean,
I
dude, like
think
this
the
whole part.
structuring of the call is what's so crucial. Sorry to interrupt, question, but that's like the whole takeaway for me is like the structuring of the call was like the game changer for me, because like I now, instead of was just like kind of blindly throwing like facts out there, I now had like a B, C, walk them through it all the way, and then like slowly walk them back through it again. That's exactly what Koshik did to me, and like I recognized it when I read this. Is like, oh shit, okay, this works. You know.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
It's the skeleton. Use this as a skeleton. And then whatever applies, keep it. Whatever doesn't apply, swap it out. Like this part right here, like this pretty much like applies. You can say, hey, you're gonna get a course, dude. It's gonna be $1,600 in terms of support you get. Like I'm gonna give you one-on-one time. I charge this much per hour. Boom. FAQs, like here's how many leads you're gonna get, and as long as you convert X number of percentage of people, you're gonna make an ROI. Can you continue? Yeah, man. Like you can re-up 3 months later if you want. Any additional costs? I recommend having the CRM. We're gonna give it to you. You can use it if you want. Use your own CRM. Okay, sounds good. Question? Do you have any questions regarding this? They say no. Okay, so here's about what's gonna happen next. This is what Tony's talking about. First, you're gonna give me a hell yeah, hell no, like we talked about. Then it's the same thing. It's the framework. It's the skeleton.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty much, I mean, you can go so far as to like doing even the stuff that I do, the sculpture, whatever, like you can do that as well. That'll apply to you as well.
Okay. Sweet.
You're this is gonna be more applicable to you now than it was for the free video commercial. This is gonna be more applicable to you now because you're selling like a coaching consulting type of offer to filmmakers. Like this is very similar.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. And this is what you do or have done for like your wedding offer or whatever?
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I just wanted some clarity on that just to make sure I was you
Main
know,
thing with you is going to be like marketing material before this call. And so one thing is, I don't know who's here. Maybe does MJ, maybe did MJ bounce? MJ did bounce. So I wish MJ was here and Kyle was here. Both of them said the same thing, which they told me. They said that before we even hopped on a call with you, Koshi, we had made up our mind. And so what they meant by that is they had, and you did too as well, most likely, is you made up your mind by going through the Cinema Marketing Chico workshop and this and that, and like, okay, this actually makes sense. So by the time you and I spoke, we're just feeling each other out. And so
100.
that's going to be the key for you. That's what I've come to find for filmmakers, photographers, like getting them content before hopping on a call. That's the key. That's the big, big key of making this work.
And yeah, and that probably starts with the like thank you page video and like testimonials and stuff later down the line.
Thank you.
Um,
And then if you have like longer videos there, like if you have like a 2 hour video, 1 hour video, I like to send Loom videos. If you can integrate Loom, that's going to be key. I personally, I mean, if you can get out of Discovery, I'm not saying to get out of Discovery call. I like not doing them. For me, I've replaced the Discovery call with a Loom video. So I send people a Loom video. And in that Loom video, I tell people, hey, you got to watch this 2 hour video or else like we're not hopping on a call.
so I gotta do a wedding filmmaker mastery in person and teach a bunch of guys so like you did for that was a crazy video. And that whatever call that like not call the thing that you did with like 5 guys and you were talking for the whole day or 2 days or something, like having like I felt compelled emotionally to watch every single minute of that thing. So that was pure amazing on your part. And I gained a ton of knowledge. So yeah, no, kudos to you, man. That was a crazy video. So definitely keep that in the back of my mind for
I still think about Douglas.
Douglas is completely right.
What is he doing now, dude? Tell me, is he crushing it or is he working at Chick-fil-A or what's going on?
Douglas did not pursue it. Lewis did, and then AB did. The guys that you think pursued it pursued it. The guys that you don't think pursued it didn't pursue it. You can tell. Everybody cracks up talking about Douglas. He's a goof troop, man. I love Douglas. We're so good friends. He came to Ohio. He filmed like there's I don't know some of you guys maybe have saw I posted a story this past weekend, gym stuff. Douglas filmed that for me. So
yeah.
great dude. Um love him to death. But it's funny, like he's one of those people that I just look at and the moment I see his face, I just start you guys might have that person in your life. You just see so they just put you in a good mood. So anyways, what I'm trying to get at though, what I'm trying to get out here is that like that was the course back in the day, Ethan. You know how we're spending all this time, like you're like, dude, I don't know what should be in the course, this, that, dude, it was that. Like that's what like, the first 100 people got. That was it. And so I didn't even know what should be there. I kind of guessed and it ended up being okay. And then I just kept adding more and more stuff. So anyways, that's just again to like let you know, like, dude, you're not gonna get it right the first time. Just as time progresses, you build and refine stuff.
Gotcha.
What else did you have for us, man?
Um, that's kind of everything. I guess in terms of like payment, do you still think like a $5,000 um price tag is fair, makes sense for, I mean, again, just like closing 5 weddings for them is, you know, at least 10,000, if not 15 to $20,000 in revenue for them. Um, so I guess like just from a return on investment, that makes sense, but maybe in the beginning, just without as many testimonials, it may be difficult. Do you suggest like starting out at like 3K or something like that? Or I mean, what are your thoughts?
Promise you 5K is fine. Like what is the difference for you versus think about it like this. Whether you charge 3K or 5K, I'm speaking to Ethan who has 50 clients already. Like that's my knowledge. My knowledge is 50 clients. Ethan has 50 clients. So why should you charge me 3K versus 5K? I don't know any better. I don't know any different. Does
Okay.
that I don't know if that logically makes sense. Because you're I assume that your angle is from like the thing of like I don't have as much testimonies, I don't have as much results, I don't have as big of a portfolio. You're speaking like a videographer that doesn't have as much of a portfolio. But what I'm trying to say is like me as the consumer of your thing, I don't know any better. So why not charge a good amount?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if the guarantee is double to triple that, then yeah, I guess kind of a no-brainer offer then.
I also want you to be paying attention to something very important that Tony and Adam said. And Tony and Adam were talking about like, scraping by on cash and doing XYZ, and for some time like dipping into their savings and this and that to make ends meet. And then now they're here and you can tell like they're like super happy with where they're at and they'll be back. And so, did I have to make Tony and Adam a bajillion dollars within these 3 months? No. I just have to fucking bust my ass and then do right by them and then set them up so that now they're like, holy shit, we have a money making machine. And so now it makes sense for them to work more close together to learn. Now it's like I help them make this, I help them get a freaking lemon and the squeezing thing. And now they have that. And so now the question becomes, okay, Kaushik, I want to make sure I don't like leave any drops of lemon, like help us squeeze the shit out of this lemon. And so again, there just has to be the next thing that you can help people with and like be really good. And so your ultimately what I'm trying to get at is like if you just pay attention to what we're doing here and the value that we're trying to provide, and like everybody knows like me and Mason are going to lead with value and try to do everything in our power to help you. Just do that for your guys, man. And they'll see it, they'll feel it. And the thing that you have that's super easy for you, and it's not, I'm not trying to take anything away from you, but it's like, dude, you can make these people 10K, 15K easy. Easy. It's gonna be a walk in the freaking park. And so as long as you one do that, and then two, you ensure that they always know your intentions are high and all this stuff, you bend over backwards, bro. These people are gonna sign up for life with you, for life.
Hmm. Gotcha. Gotcha. Sweet.
Other questions?
Um, I guess last one just because I thought of it right now. So starting out, assuming I am running the ads, would I deduct the ad spend, their ad spend, and like add it on top of the 5K, or just subtract it from the 5K and take that hit from the 5K?
It's a good question. Aman, when you pitch it, how do you pitch it?
Um, I I they'd pay for it on top of my fee. So
Like,
basically like
like when you get to presenting the offer, like how do you present the offer? Like, hey, it's going to be X number for the next 3 months. This doesn't include ad fee, or like how exactly are you saying it?
yeah,
So
I've been testing different ways of saying it. Like I've been trying the first like right now I'm testing the whole like so for when we get to the price, I have it as like XXXX for like what the price is, but underneath this is 25 to 50 for daily ad spend. So I'll say, so first is like, I'll hit the angle of like you'll be spending this much on ads, and then my marketing fee is this much. But I think I have said it where I put in the numbers first. This is my marketing fee. And then, people will be like, oh, and then I pay for ad spend on top of that. So then I started revealing the price and then saying, and then, 25 to 50 on ads, daily ad spend. And then now I've been kind of testing where I reveal like, or I go through the ad spend first because I make sure to bring it up during the sales call. Like, hey, like, are you able to spend 25 to 50 on ad spend? And then so I touch on that before, making sure they know it's separate, and then I reveal my price.
nice.
Gotcha. Just yeah, upfront clarifying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do the Thank you for that. I do the same thing. Like throughout my marketing, throughout my discovery sales calls, it's pretty much like, hey, you're gonna be spending $30 to $50 per day on ads. And so by the time I get here, and also here's another trick. And again, if you listen back to this call, you'll see how I do it. It's like, okay, so what I'm gonna go over the price. You have something right on. They say, yeah, it's okay. So this is just mine. This is for the next 3 months, not for 1 month, not for 6 months, for 3 months. And again, you can re-up this if you want. And so I'm very clear that this is our service fee. And then even again, what did I say down here? Any additional costs. So again, it's a separate thing.
Mhm.
Good question.
Great. Great. Sounds good.
Anything else?
I'm gonna try to go live with ads tomorrow with the video that I shared with you. And hopefully I can get 5 to 10 discovery calls in the next week and come next week with a client or two. That's the
Yeah.
goal.
Good. Sounds good, man. Yeah. As the moment we have the discovery calls booked, man, like you can rest and everything else will fall into place. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
So sounds good, man. Keep us posted. And yeah. Anything else, Ethan?
Nope. I'm stoked to keep moving forward.
Cool.
So thank you.
Yep. All right, so we got a Daniel problem. We got too many of you guys. So we're gonna go Riviera, Booth, and Dan. So Dan, you're up. What's going on, my man?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, man. Just want to thank Tony for for a while back when he was saying his 10 things, his 10 takeaways. That was really encouraging, man. Cause it's it can be discouraging at times and feels very daunting. And then, to kind of see people going through the same thing, struggling where I'm struggling, it's encouraging. So thanks for that. So yeah, my questions are pretty I,
So the question, yeah.
listening to everybody, my questions are now newbie questions. But yeah, tweaking the funnels. So I'm watching the videos, right? Going through it, tweaking the funnels. There's nothing to tweak, right? Because I'm using all your videos. That's where my confusion is. It's like I was gearing up to film my own stuff, and then it's like, oh no, you're not doing all that. So okay, so just clarifying. And then the same thing for Trello. Right?
So in terms of the funnel, small little tweaks, like on the opt-in page, there's for example, changing the state.
Okay, so I'll go back and watch that video because I thought it was saying plug in your videos here and stuff like that.
Yeah, you ignore that. Like that course
Okay.
Their course. So really what I would do is if you have everything downloaded, take a moment to just open up the page from the top to the bottom, read everything through and be like, okay, what is in here that wouldn't logically make sense? It says according attention business owners and location. That wouldn't make any sense. So you swap out location for where you're based, for example.
Right.
I try to make it a little bit easy on you too, Dan, because I put it in yellow as well, so you kind of have that. Just another thing I'd mention as well is don't worry about launching your ads without me or anything. Book a call with me. I'm gonna run literally everything from A to Z with you and make sure that you have everything all set up. And if you have any additional questions from there, I am here to make sure that every dollar that you spend is a well dollar spent. So
okay,
I'll make sure that because I know I'm looking at the screen right now. It's just why is the opportunity named this and that and stuff like that. It's I can sit down with you one-on-one and definitely go over those questions with you right then and there as well.
Okay. Yeah, that stuff I just wasn't I thought maybe that was an oversight that you didn't know you were doing that, or maybe just for a reason. I just thought it was kind of weird that the name is the email and the source is the name. So I don't know. And then the same thing, the lead value can't be I just put 0 because it wouldn't let me not put anything, but on your video it wasn't mentioned at all.
Yeah. So I'll just answer your question really quickly. So with the opportunity name as the contact email, the opportunity source is contact name. Obviously you can't see what it looks like right now, but basically the way that it's set up is how it looks like in the pipeline. So if you're looking at it from a 30,000 foot view, you just have their name and their email on the screen exactly where they are at that time. So it sounds a little bit more complex than it actually is, but it'll make a lot more sense when a lead comes in. Then you'll be like, oh, this is their name and this is their email address when you're looking from a 30,000 foot view, because you'll remember you're gonna have so many opt-ins and so many leads and so many applications coming through. You're gonna be like, I don't know exactly who I just talked to, but then you'll be able to recognize their name and then you can go and look at their application and stuff like that. So hopefully that answers that question.
Got it.
And then
yep,
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No worries. Go ahead.
So I just thought of new questions as I was sitting here. I don't know what step it was, but creating the SMS number where I had register for my area.
Yep.
Going through all the verbiage. Are they waiting to approve that? Is that what's going on? And I'm asking because it's asking for my website. I gave my website, but it's not published yet. So I'm wondering if I should publish that before. Are they gonna actually go through all that?
Yeah, good question. So there's a difference. So in A2P and 10LC compliance, there's a difference between brand and campaign. So in order for your campaign to be approved, first you have to register as a brand. Do you know if you did that by any chance?
Yes. Well, yeah, I was just waiting for them to approve or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay. So when that's approved, that's when you go ahead and then you register your campaign. Your campaign is kind of when you talk a little bit more about where I think you believe that you have to have a website for. You don't need to have a website for that. I kind of
Okay.
found this like little A2P10 DLC hack, and it's been working for everybody in getting them approved because a lot of people have been getting stuck in getting their stuff approved. But I can help you with that as well on that call. Or yeah, we'd have to probably do it on a call because it'd be a little bit confusing not looking at it right now, just so it makes sense for you of
And
what we're basically seeing
and
and typing in.
and this call would be the testing A to Z.
Yep, we can do
Okay.
everything. Yep, because technically, like, you don't need SMS right now to launch your funnel. I think the most important thing is just launching your funnel immediately. But you can basically set up email notifications; those go right to you. But it's a little bit tricky with SMS messages now just because of all of the new regulations and things along the lines of that. So again, it's not necessarily 100% needed, but we can launch at the same time we get your SMS approved, and then we'll just build out your automation so when it does get approved, those triggers are in place, then you're good to go no matter what.
Got it.
Main thing is just don't wait on the SMS stuff. Like the sooner you can launch, and you'll get the SMS stuff taken care of in due time. It doesn't break anything.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm going back to what like Tony was saying earlier. That's where like I've struggled throughout my whole life was like paralysis by analysis. I'm just like, I want to see like every like path and outcome before I even get started, and it's just like, it's daunting. It's like, just get started, just do something.
And
So
I joke about this right now, but guys, this is so funny. I'm going through my sales pitch with Dan, and I'm getting to the end. He's like, "Bro, when's the fucking shoe gonna drop?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Bro, shit's like a walk in the park. This is way too fucking easy. It's got to be a scam." I'm like, "Wait till you get started." It's not hard, but there's like a lot of smaller steps, a lot of small.
yeah. All right. Yeah.
It's a lot of mini steps, but
Dan's like this. He's like, "This is a walk in the park. Y'all are pussies."
it's kind of like pushing a big snowball down a mountain. It's like it takes a lot to push it first, and once it starts getting going, you can slowly start to ease off a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got it.
We got stuck on the same SMS problem that you did as well. We had the exact same conversation with Kaushik like, I don't know, 2.5 months ago. It's like, we can't get this SMS thing going. He's like, just fucking launch the funnel. And he was right. Like, it didn't matter. And it worked like the next day. We got it like approved, but at the end of the day, it didn't matter. So
Okay.
glad you got it.
That's all the questions I've had. I'm just hoping launching this week. I don't know. I think I could do it.
Let it rip, man. Just let it rip.
Yeah.
Let me know. Hey, Dan, let me know when you think you're ready. I'll slam a link inside of the chat. You can book a call with me right on there, and then we'll go
Okay.
over everything. Cool?
All right. I'm hoping for Thursday, maybe.
I'm ready whenever. I'll send you the calendar whenever you're ready.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else, Dan?
No, that's it, man. Thank you.
You feeling good about stuff? You feeling good? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's great, man. My wife's like, it's funny because like, I think it was, the new guy. I'm sorry, what's his name? MJ. Like, what's like the hardest part for me? Honestly, go high level so far. It's like so intricate and. Oh man, I'm not a tech guy at all, and I'm like older, number one, and like all my influences growing up are older. So like I'm like a millennial that has like Zennial or is Gen X like influence, and I don't know, man. I'm so just like it was a lot. It's still a lot. I feel like I was an infant, and now I'm like barely a kindergartner, like as far as understanding it all. But
This is once you get it done though, man, it's like, how they joke about like, once you learn how to swim or like, ride a bike, it's
Ride a
just,
bike, yeah.
this is that.
yeah.
Good.
And then like my wife doesn't even know what I'm doing. Like as far as like she's like she knows that the 30,000 foot view as you guys say, but like as far as like what are you doing in there though? Like I'm just building funnels, but like just like what I don't know. It's just like can't even explain it to her because I can barely grasp it myself. But
Dude, we call them civilians, man. Don't worry about
Yeah. And it's funny because I talked with you, Coach, about my older cousin who's like, entrepreneur type and his influence on me as far as like business goes. And at first, when I was telling him about like this I was going through, he's like, oh, I don't know, it sounds like a scam, whatever, blah blah blah, and gave me a lot of pushback. And then now, he'll check up on me. So what's going on? And I'm like, I have like, well, you guys can't see, but I got like a whole whiteboard of stuff that I'm getting checked off. And today I was telling him about like the SMS stuff and like how building funnels and like, I don't know, it was just like he was kind of like, oh shit, like kind of like waiting for me to like help him out with this.
Dude, isn't there like a saying about that? It's like first they judge you and then they ask you for help or something.
Right? Yeah.
Don't be
But it's all
surprised.
good. I mean, like we're pretty tight like that, but it's just funny how like now he's the one asking me.
I promise you, he'll be like in due time, he's gonna be like eating out your palms, asking you to like everything, lead generation, sales, conversions.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait, man.
So
This is
you,
only my second week here, so
you can be like, I told you so then. It'll be a good feeling. I live for those moments. Um, anything else, Dan?
no, man, just excited, just like eager, really. Just want to like get going.
Next week, man. Next week, the sooner you launch, man, I would say like if you launch Thursday, you should start getting people to come in Friday, Saturday, Sunday. By Monday, you should have some people, maybe even have like a discovery call by then. So that'll be cool. Things pick up the momentum then.
That's crazy to think about. All right.
All right, Dan. Cool. Keep it going, man.
Yeah.
And if you just let us know. And then again, Mason's got you whenever you need him.
All right. Thank you.
I think I saw Rivera cringe a little bit when he heard that Tony and Adam got rid of that dentist client.
Yeah, they're still hot, dude. We can send them to you. We'll just take a little. They haven't run any funnels yet. I know that for a fact. And we had them sold on the Invisalign thing, dude. No bullshit.
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
I want
Already
a
warm in the
20%
pipe.
finder's fee for that.
Yeah, for real.
Word.
Warm in the pipe.
Me and Mason get a 10% fee for like putting everybody together for
There you
sure.
go. There-
Mr. Riviera, this is like a tech question that maybe Mason or somebody else can give you feedback on, but like if you want to elaborate on this a little bit more first.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I see the Go High Level calendar. I have a Calendly that's synced up with my calendar, but couldn't really figure out that integration, so I was just thinking of using Go High Level's calendar. But
Yeah.
then it begs the question of, okay, well, how do I not avoid double booking like on my personal calendar, right? Or my business calendar that I use on Outlook. So I just recently found a video actually when I typed that question in that showed how to sync
Yeah,
Outlook
I was just gonna say
with
there's a one-way sync and a
Google.
two-way sync.
So yeah, so you recommend a one-way or a two-way sync?
I use one and I use Google Calendar, but you can do the same thing with Outlook. I prefer Google myself, but
Yeah. So
like
so
I can show you like because I know what you mean by like the double booking. So like what I will do is I go inside my Google Calendar and I'll be like from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. like sleep. And then my calendar will automatically never let me book any of those things because it's looking at that calendar. And so technically it's a Google Calendar, but it's looking at that calendar that's synced up with Go High Level. So physically nothing can book in there. But you can do
hmm
the same thing with what you're doing with Outlook.
hmm
But I use one way.
Okay.
It's really honestly like I know Go High Level really well, but the
Yeah.
calendars inside there are fucking confusing. Like I signed in the other day and I was like trying to create a calendar. There's like 4 different options. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Like,
sometimes there's like multiple ways to do one thing, and I think that's what kind of F's me up because I'm like, is there one way that's better? And then it becomes a rabbit hole. But
yeah,
no, cool.
let me know
Okay,
if you can't.
yeah,
Let
the
me know if
one
you
way
can't set
thing.
it up.
Oh, what was that?
I said, let me know if you can't set it up because I can help you set it up. It's a little
Oh,
bit
for sure,
complicated, but I can help you set it up.
for sure. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll probably just like I told you I was gonna send a Loom video, but I haven't even gone to that calendar. I want to get into like the nitty-gritty stuff to where I'm like hit with a roadblock, and then that's where I can like throw a Loom video on it and be like, hey, like do I hit one way or two-way sync? But it's great to hear that you do one-way sync. Because I was kind of getting confused on that point there. But yeah, it's really just plugging in the videos, guys, and and just launching and letting it rip. I struggle too, Dan, with the analysis paralysis. So always figuring like I've already launched funnels, so I have like no right to think that because I know in my mind like I've launched things and then I've perfected it as we've been in launch mode. Like post launch, I've went and refined things. So, I think I just have to take that like perspective into like myself. I think I have to do if it worked with the client, it I tend to like be like, oh, but if it's mine, I got to do it this way and do it perfect. But it's like, well, if it worked with the client, that same mentality should work for you, right? Just launch and tweak later. So just struggling with some mental roadblocks, but glad to hear that I'm not that this is something a lot of people deal with, and hearing how you guys get over it gives me perspective to kind of like light up my shadow, so to speak. So I'm always trying to look at my blind spots, and this group really helps me see them, because if I hear somebody else's perspective on and then kind of push on that, or it's secretly he's pushing on me too, because I'm like, oh, I kind of had that perspective in a sense. And then you're kind of answering for more than just that person because I'm also listening. So, but yeah, there not really too many questions. You're going to get bombarded probably once post launch, if, as long as nothing's too haywire, but, I'm kind of know how the process works post launch and what to expect on things. So if I do ask anything, it's probably super nuanced, but, I'm just really excited.
Yeah, man. Um, I think I think the part of it, I mean, I could be mistaken, but I know for me, like even I get anxiety these days, even still if I'm launching something new. And the anxiety that is usually the anxiety is just like all this fucking work I'm doing, I don't know if it's gonna pay off. That's it. That's all it is.
That's literally it.
That's what
For
it is.
sure.
It's not a matter of like, will it work, will it won't work, this, that, all. It's the amount of time and energy, and I don't know if it's gonna give me an ROI for my time. And that's just part of the game, just part of the process. And
Yeah,
so
for sure.
but I think the way that you can combat that is a community like this, where you can kind of get feedback from myself and other people and be like, hey guys, what do you think? And then that can be reassuring for you. And so leverage that, so like,
Oh yeah.
so if you ever feel like you're getting that way, which I could kind of sense as well, by the way, I kind of sense that from you. But it's, I want to give you your space and give you room. But it's like, if you ever feel that way, like feel free to send stuff over and get feedback, and
Yeah,
maybe it'll push you,
yeah,
that'll push you and kind of inspire you and motivate you to move things.
for sure. For sure. I pretty much have everything like done. I just have to do maybe like put the pixel and the footer note stuff, and just the calendar, and pretty much just like plug and play. My goal is to get you a Loom video by tomorrow, to say, hey, is there any like blind spots, and just launch it tomorrow. So I do have a shoot, so it'll probably be something in the evening, but definitely doable because the shoot's locals to me, so it's quick drive back, and it's no post editing, so I'm not taking on any more shoots that are require post production. So it's just pretty much just half days kind of thing. So just to kind of, I've even been rejecting kind of tapering off some of the bigger stuff. People have been wanting me to be on podcasts, and these are 3 hour long podcasts where I have to sit on, but then I have to also edit. And yeah, I just like, and I don't know podcasting, so it's something I would outsource for sure, like to an editor. But since I don't even know how to deal with like the on-site stuff, it's like I don't want to go to the rabbit hole of figuring out what tech gear I need, all this for a random shoot that I'm probably not trying to niche down in. So it's like doesn't make sense.
Maybe
Which is something I wouldn't do before. Before I would just be like, oh, money, yes, and then I'll figure it out. I'll buy the gear necessary, do a one-off random shoot, and I'd feel bad later, because then I'd realize I have all this gear for a certain type of niche I don't even freaking uh see a future in, and it becomes more of like, what do I want to be in this life? And it becomes a bigger and deeper thing, and that's when you realize that quick cash really actually sets you up to be cornered almost in a sense. So I'm just trying to really think, broader in terms of like what I really want to do. So having to turn down some cash sometimes, but knowing that that time's gonna be allocated somewhere else. So
Hey, with you, I mean, you're not putting your business out in the air or anything, but like, the good thing you've done for yourself, man, I know you had that history that you had, but like you were able to save up a good amount of a nest egg, and just, reflect on, just think about that, just like always have that in the back of your mind. And as long as you see the big picture, which I know you do, then it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's not that serious. You're gonna be okay.
Yeah,
Just focus
yeah,
on this season right now, and then as soon as we get it launched, like it's rock and roll time, man. As soon as we get it launched, rock and roll
for
time.
sure, for sure. And yeah, and uh yeah, just a lot of these dentists are stressed, they just their whole world's dental. So if I could alleviate some of their pain with just like being the brains behind the marketing, I think they see a lot of value in that. Just somebody to talk to sometimes, like about plans and what they want to push as a service. And it excites me and stuff. So I definitely feel compelled for this niche, but yeah, I'm not like stuck on it. I'm like, if there's another niche one day, but right now I feel like this is my chapter, this is my season for this niche, and I'm locked in. Maybe this is kind of like what you told Ethan, like could be a stepping stone to my biggest niche ever, to my $100 million funnel, right? But maybe this is like the thing I need right now to learn to even get to that next step. So just lock in now and just see this as my put the blinders on for what I have in front of me.
Blinders on, bro. Blinders on. That would be a new saying for the cinema marketing cheat code. Blinders on, motherfuckers. Uh, Stuff, Daniel.
But yeah, but I mean, I sound like I feel like I want to be more the learner. I want to ask a bunch of questions and just listen, but I just feel like that's all gonna come like as soon as I launch. Like I'm definitely gonna be like that. But right now it's just like I know what my ass needs to do, and I just need to shut up and do it.
So, and the moment you launch, by the way, you said something about like I'm not gonna have a lot of questions or so many nuance. Like that's when the actual learning starts, bro. Like the actual learning starts from that moment, and where me and I'm super in the trenches with you in terms of like, okay, how did the discovery call go? Let's talk about it, until you get it dialed in, and it'll be a few reps until you get that sale. Like that's
Yeah.
literally Tony and Adam are right now. They're figuring out their voice in terms of how to sell this thing, and so we'll get there.
Yeah, I just feel like I don't have new experiences to share, so I feel like when I launch, I'll be able to speak on those experiences, speak on where I feel like I effed up, feel like where I could have improved, feel like where I did good, and then you guys can kind of help me break it down and kind of make sense of it. So, I think I'm around the corner there.
Hang on, bro. Um, Anything else that you wanted to go over, Riviera?
Um, Not really. I know that, time management I could be better on because I'm that person that's like I'm very set with my time blocks, but sometimes like I recently talked to you about like some family coming over, but I get thrown for a loop and sometimes it just messes up my rhythm and flow, right? So I just feel like exacerbated, just feeling like, really kind of thrown off and kind of fucks with my flow. And I've always had a trouble with focus ever since high school too. I don't know if I'm ADHD or not. I know sometimes people say that's overdiagnosed or whatever, but I do feel like sometimes I can really, even sometimes now when I first talk to you guys and talk, I could ramble. So I'm like, I have to even like be constantly in my head, like, hey, make sure to stay focused, make sure to stay on topic, make sure to like, I have to really like take a lot of time and energy to really like think about that in the like metacognition, like think about that in the background just for me to be able to like stay on point, right? And so hence why I made a whole like course for your Trello, like through Trello. I made Koshik's whole course via Trello. So every video that he made was like in a certain category. And then that way I can just like knock it down. But as you can see, that's a problem in time management because if something throws me off for a loop, life event or whatever, I almost feel like, oh, that screwed up my day. And I feel like that's a mental roadblock that's been screwing with me because it's not like I just think, oh, that screwed up my day. I'm not going to do anything. It's more so I feel like I'm behind on time. And then because I'm behind on time, I feel like I cut corners. And then I say, okay, I can't do this to its fullest extent because this thing came up. So I'm just going to do kind of like what I think's the best of each time block. And I just find, I don't know, maybe it's because I have to make that sacrifice. But
I
uh, I don't know.
Does anybody in here know what an HTMA test is? It's a hair mineral analysis test. So what they do is they cut your hair and then, they test it and then they can basically tell you what you're deficient in and all this stuff. There's also like a DNA test. And so I've had some, personal issues, like for example, I, like had issues with like sleeping for a long time. I've had certain issues with my diet. And so, I found this person, asked a lot of people, and then, was able to get these tests done, and it like really put clarity in terms of like, why I behave the way I do. Like for me, for example, I have literally, it's like they will tell you like if you have good genes, bad genes. And so it's like if imagine like a bar and it's like 50%. So like for me, it's like all of it was fucking red. In other words, it told me like Kushik, you are prone to eating to deal with your emotions. And like I fucking never knew that. I was just like, sometimes I just like pizza, bro. Like what the fuck? But now I know, like now I know like if I don't control myself and diet, like I'll really fuck myself up. And so now I have this awareness. I also like found out that like literally it was a very simple thing I had to do in terms of supplementation. And then now I can sleep like a fucking baby. For a very long time, I had like these really dark bags, like for years. I thought it was the stress of the Cinemark cheat code. That's what I thought it was.
For
Maybe
sure.
something
Maybe it's something.
So ultimately what I'm getting at, Riviera, and for everybody here is like everybody should take the time and energy to like look into like getting some tests done. For you, Riviera, I'm specifically talking about, bro, like get tested for ADHD. Like get tested for that stuff.
For sure. For
Get tested,
sure.
get tested, because what happens is like right now you're okay, bro. But like even though you're like talking about this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
like, that tells me that I'm telling you right now, and I don't know if this is scary, but like the way you're talking about it is like this will become an issue for sure when you have people to, for sure it
Yeah,
will be.
yeah.
It's like you have to like take care of the stuff now.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
When you say HTM test, right?
huh?
HTM? Is it?
I can message it to you guys if you guys are interested. Like literally, I'll find you. I'll give you guys like the person I found. I'll just give you all this stuff and you guys can go to him. Fucking amazing guy.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, it runs in the family. I see it real bad, my mom lost $100 the other day, then lost her car keys, and then left the stove on and a burrito freaking fumed the house. All because of the inability to kind of
Focus.
I think the main culprit is just like how does it actually play out in a practical sense is you kind of I don't know. It's like you can think of so many things so rapidly and you feel like you're doing a lot, but then you're just touching on everything 10%. So nothing's really getting done, but it feels like you're getting stuff done. So, I'm trying to think of a real life example, but it's like I could be working on some stuff like me and the Go High Level calendar, and then and then I see a tab for, you know, um, the phone numbers, and I'm like, oh, let me check on the trust center to see where my ATP is verified, and then I go check on that, and then I'm because I opened that setting tab, it revealed a whole world of different tabs, and then I'm like, oh, let me get that done, and then it's like I feel like I'm getting it done, but I'm like, wait, why was my first page was the calendar. Let's just knock that out. So I'm like, I'm going through it and it's I do, it does help in a sense where I like kind of really scan things and I actually find like some things that needed to be fixed that I didn't think I was going to cover today. But then it becomes a problem when it's like, I could just jump from one thing to the next. So just being able to control that meditation has definitely helped probably the most out of all things I have tried. Um, but sometimes it's just when I feel like I'm behind in a sense, I'm like, oh, I can't dedicate today to meditation. I'm behind. So that's where it kind of self loops. So
Straight up sounds like ADHD, bro. Like straight up.
yeah,
Yeah.
I try not. I've always kind of denied it for a while, but I kind of this year I've kind of had an ego check on that, and I've kind of been like more kind
Get
of been
tested.
like maybe yeah yeah
Oh,
for sure
seriously.
for sure
And I
for
know
sure.
like I say that's easier said than done, because then what happens is you get tested and it opens up a whole, like you have anxiety of get tested because what about what they say, and then from there you have to deal with that problem. But it's like you have to deal with it sooner or later.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to sweep it under the rug either. You
Yeah,
know.
for you,
So
bro. Definitely get that. You
yeah, I'll
cannot
check it out
knowing what's going on first.
for sure. And that's probably where my anxiety comes from because I've talked to you about that. But because I can overthink, I can overanalyze. So, and it's good because I put myself in people's shoes a lot because I'm thinking of every possible thing they could be thinking. So I'm trying to go and negate that by like preparing or having the best, user experience, product service delivery, thinking about, oh, their ads slowed down for those last 2 days for this client. So I'm definitely going to be on helping support them a little bit more via email or some type of little check-in thing. So it helps me like think of people very, but then it's like sometimes I'm like, how am I going to deal with this when there's 10 clients? how am I going to deal with this when there's 20? Like, this is good in the sense that I'm thinking so much of everybody and their thoughts, but I'm like, dude, I times this by 10. I can't be that. I can't be in everybody's shoes in that, in the way I so put my whole self into them. So I have to really think about myself too, and
Yeah, I could go on, but like the first step is just like, I sound like a broken bread. The first step is just figuring out like objectively what is going on, and from there you can start tackling. That's what I did. I just get tested for everything. I get tested for everything, and I solve problems one by one. Um, and so yeah, that man. Again, I don't want to get super in the trenches here, but like I always just like I go into my, maybe you do this, go into my phone every day. I plan tomorrow today. So this evening I'm gonna plan tomorrow, and then I get home, I don't allow myself to go on YouTube. I don't allow myself to do XYZ until I get the task done. And then afterwards I chill. So again, small little things like that.
yeah,
Like
for sure.
build those muscles where you force yourself to get a certain task done. And so for example, if you say my task is X, well, then you don't have the room to click and check out these contacts.
Yeah.
Why? Because that's forbidden. It is a sin to do that because you must. I'm serious. That's how I view it.
No, for sure.
So
For sure. And I think I just have to hold myself a little bit to a higher standard there, and just really put more of an importance and elevation. Like, I put this time block on here for a reason. Like treat it like you said, like anything else is a sin. This is the gold standard.
yes, but
I know
also
this is,
but also again, I sound like a broken record, but also like figure out what are you genetically predisposed to, right? So like for example, you trying to like hold yourself to a certain standard. Like I know, for example, when I go on a fast, I have ADHD like a motherfucker. I cannot keep, and that's like there. That's not me like not having willpower. It's like I'm literally depleting myself. So it's like, what are you genetically predisposed to, and this and that. So if that's a concern of yours, then figure that out first, and then
for sure.
what I do versus what somebody else does versus what you do might be different, and you might have to solve the problem differently.
For
So
sure. Cool. No, this is great. I didn't think to ask any of this stuff, so it's great that I just, that's why you guys are so chill. I feel more open with you guys because I kind of keep things to myself, honestly, other than my girl. But, it's like seeing everyone on the same path. It's like, I think I just get a lot more clarity here. So,
fun. We got some good dudes here. All right, I'm proud of our community. So, Riviera, you got anything else from us, man?
no, that's it. Just gonna be on the grind set, and yeah, expect that Loom video tomorrow. And I'm hoping to launch by at least tomorrow evening, or at the very least have show you guys like where I'm at on the back end, and just make sure everything's good to go.
That's good, man. Um, Anybody else have anything that they want to go over?
Is it that time of the coaching call?
Ah, this guy.
Wait. I do think we had like 2 or 3 outstanding questions,
Yes.
and we didn't get a chance to ask questions. We just gloated about all of our achievements and different accolades we've got over the past 3 months. So, we'll be very quick. Okay. What's the play if someone doesn't have a Facebook page or website or GMB? Like, how do you and Mason handle that? If it's like someone who you think could probably still invest the money, but they're just in such an early stage of, business ownership.
I don't know if Mason has an answer for that one. So what you're saying is like, if somebody doesn't even have a Facebook page, if somebody doesn't even have a XYZ, like what do you do in terms of what? In terms of sales or in terms of like service delivery?
Well, we're running things for their Facebook or Instagram. And if they don't have those things, how do you approach that, I guess? We
So
run it to their own. I mean, we can make a funnel for them, obviously, with our own IO or our own website that we can create. But don't we need some kind of, we need their Facebook ads manager set up, or, a Facebook business page to be set up.
yeah. So I think right now you guys don't fully know yet what you guys are doing in terms of service delivery yet, right? Because you guys don't know if you're doing a lead format, if you're doing a messenger ad, a funnel. You don't know that stuff yet. And so part of it could be like overwhelming or cause anxiety if you think too much into that stuff right now. However, like to answer this basic question, element, like if somebody doesn't have it, like you'll just create it for them flat out. Like if that's what they need, if that's what you'll step one is figure out what it is that you're doing in terms of service delivery. Step two is just like create what they need for you to execute upon that. And
Makes
most
sense.
likely it's going to be, because so it's like, is the way that you're going to generate leads and sales for somebody through your own Facebook ads manager, through your own ad account, and then all they need is a freaking phone number. Well, then they don't need any of this stuff. So the question becomes first, like, what is the strategy to actually get them results? And then from there, you work backwards.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. A couple other dumb questions. So on story ads, we were gonna try to run some. We haven't really done any of those yet. For this niche funnel, are you guys using that same method of putting copy on the top and bottom and leaving some space? Or are you doing like full screen story ads and then putting copy within the image, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I think so if I make something specific for stories, I just cover the whole thing.
In
Yeah.
in image, right?
Like an image, a video, whatever. Like I'm gonna specifically craft it for 1080 by 1920. And so I'm not necessarily like, usually though, what I do is I just make a 1920 by 1080. I make a 1080 by 1080 video and I just post it everywhere, usually.
Mhm.
So I'm creating something that works across all platforms. But if something is specific for stories, because like a 15-second thing that I want them to see and I retargeting them over and over, then I will create like a specifically for that platform. So I won't do like the black thing on the top and the bottom if it doesn't apply.
Got it. Okay, cool.
I just specifically think if I do something specifically for stories, here's a better way for me to say it. If I specifically do something for stories, I just think of like what is the best viewer experience, and I create that.
In terms of stories and my experience, what I can say is I think that the traditional ad, quote unquote, works really, really well on feeds. But what has worked very well for me on stories is just essentially like something super organic, like literally a photo of you and your dog. And just because, and literally like don't go on, don't use Premiere Pro, literally just have it be a photo and then like take the photo out of your literal gallery on your phone and then edit the text on the screen and then use that as your ad. So it looks like a legitimate story of you using the same font, the same everything. That's what works really, really well for me.
But using like, for instance, like the iPhone text instead of like
Yep. So like if you were to open up Instagram on your phone right now for like Hendy Street or whatever, and you say you guys were at like a video shoot or something along the lines of that, snap a quick photo and then literally use like the exact font and text that you would use in an original story, and that would be your ad. You literally just go ahead and screenshot that and then you upload it and that's your ad.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Cool. And then Adam had this question too. This is our last question for a month. What is a good cutoff date for giving up on ads and resetting?
I
I think that,
Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
Adam, maybe you can explain that better than I can.
Yeah, I mean, we're spending what, like $60 a day now, Tony? Right now, around that. So at some point, if we don't get a close off of this campaign funnel that we're running, then we're talking about shifting to just doing some cold outreach, just using like a local list of groomers that we have and just trying to close the deal that way. Because at some point it just, we only have but so much money. So I think we're on it's been 2 weeks, or has it been a week and a half since we launched?
You guys have your Excel sheet that I can have a look at if it's updated?
I'll pull up what we have on it. Yeah, it's not all the way.
And I mean, to me, I mean, to speak on that, we currently have 4 discovery calls and 2 sales calls tomorrow. And I have a sales call as soon as we hang up this phone call. So my thought is, we're going to make it to at least making at least 1 sale this week. This is more like plan B shit, to where, if we get like, if we get into a bind and we run out of cash, how do we continue pursuing this, until we re-up? And I don't think that's going to be a problem now. Like our industry, our film industry locally has just been tattered. It's just been like one blow after another, and it's been like really ominous. So it's been hard to make side cash. But luckily, a rash of gigs and commercial work has come in that we could like easily take on. So I feel pretty good about continuing on at this pace. But yeah, I mean, is there a world where cold outreach fits into our next month a little bit, or any other sort of thing aside from funneling? That's maybe how I
Yeah.
would agree.
So yeah, I have an answer for you. But first, in terms of your numbers, are these numbers up to date?
Yeah, so as of like yesterday or today, we spent $664 total. We have 21 leads.
So one thing
That's
that's super,
500 link clicks total.
so
$20 CPM.
okay, so 421. So here's the thing. This is off tangent, guys, but like I made a new Excel sheet that's inside the document just to title it appropriately. You guys will want to divide this out into like discovery calls, live discovery calls, sales calls, live sales calls. Because this doesn't apply. Like this funnel, like the KPI sheet that you guys have, doesn't apply to the kind of funnel that you guys have.
Right. Yeah.
So that's super crucial. It's super crucial reading the data, right? So, and again, it'll come in handy down the road. That's the first thing. Second thing is $600. Yeah, man, that's like nothing compared to like how long people usually spend. And I'm not taking anything away from you guys. I'm just saying this to like hopefully give you guys perspective shifts. And I'm sure you guys might already know this. Aaron Sawyers, for example, when he built it out, I think he gave himself like $2,000 before he closed the first deal. He's just blowing money, blowing money. Joel Kaplan says be willing to spend 5K until you close your first deal. And so like this is like not even close. And so again, that's not me taking anything away from you guys. That's just me like setting the standard of like expectation of like, dude, until you guys spend 5K, like 5K is on the high end, but like at least 2K. Like 2K is like, yeah, that's how much we should budget out for this music video or whatever. Like 2K bare minimum. That's gonna cover the electricity, that's gonna cover everything. That's the mindset I would go into this with. So that's the first thing. The second thing is in terms of cold outreach, the biggest businesses that have done this and done it the right way, they do cold outreach once they get past 7 figures. We're talking about 7 figures a month almost. That's when it makes sense.
Right.
If you look at, Hormozy, what did he say? He built his call thing out after, the pandemic and all this bad stuff happened. If you look at Tanner Chittister's company, it, does, multiple millions a year. That's the only time cold outreach makes sense. And the reason for that is because you as the business owner need to be focused on the highest leverage activity, which is actually sales calls. It is not generating leads. And so if you think about Facebook ads, what are we doing? We're literally paying a VA that doesn't sleep, eat, drink, anything. It's a machine VA that's generating leads for us, right? And so if you do cold outreach, that means that the same logic applies. You cannot afford to do cold outreach. And so what does that mean? That means instead of paying a Facebook AI machine, you must be paying a VA from the Philippines or something that's going to be cold calling these people. And the thing is, for it to even make sense, for it to even make sense and for you guys to even be good at it, that's why people need to be at like a 7-figure business before they even do that kind of stuff. So it goes back to like, is there a place for it? There's a place for it in term, and I'm not answering directly the question you're asking me. I know that the question that you're asking me, I'm answering the long-term question. The short term is like, hey, to make ends meet, for cash right now, to survive. That's the question you're asking. For that, if so, potentially, but I still wouldn't do that.
No, it was more for like the content, the experience, like getting some like actual, because I mean, it has been an objection from some people, or at least an inquiry about like, hey, show us one of your ads. And luckily we built some like bullshit AI ad that looks like proper, and like, it's good enough to like fool, 90% of the people anyway. But it would be nice to have some kind of like, and I know Aman's like, that was so cool to hear his method, you know what I mean? That's very doable. It's like, we already have like a bunch of stock that we've created or like purchased, and we can easily just get content from you and, edit it in the comfort of our homes. So that's definitely an option as well. I think Adam was saying it's more about like just wanting one of these people or two of these people to say, yeah, we just helped this person and this person. Like it feels so much easier to make a sale after having that.
So what is I guess okay, so you guys when you guys first asked this question, the question that you asked, because I'm hearing three things now. The first question you asked is how long do we run the ads until we like give up on the ads? That's the first thing I kind of heard. And so for me, I was like, that's kind of an angle of like how when I first heard that, the way you would ask that question is like, how long do we know until an ad is or is not working, a funnel is not working? That's kind of how I took it. And so I kind of already had a mental thing that I was thinking. The second thing I heard was cold outreach. When does cold outreach make sense? And then the third thing I'm hearing now is like, hey, it would be nice to be able to sell people. It would make things easier to sell people. So I'm hearing like three different things completely. So my question is like, what is the bottleneck right now? How about that? Let's go back and just be like, what is the problem that we're solving for? So if we look at your KPI sheet, can you pull that up again, Adam?
Yeah.
So if we look at your KPI sheet, we've got 21 people that booked a call. How many live discovery calls have you had, would you say?
I'll bring up Go High Level while you're chatting, and I'll figure that out.
You've had at least what, 8? I mean, you have 7 sales calls scheduled.
Okay. And I would tweak this up as well. I would tweak this to like book sales call and then live sales calls as well. This way you guys
Okay.
can how many sales calls you're having versus how many you booked, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys, so my question is how many live discovery calls have you had? And then how many live sales calls have you had?
We've had 11 discovery calls, or we're having 11 discovery calls by tomorrow, I should say. I think 11, no,
No, how many have you had?
11 discovery calls actually. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 tomorrow. And I've had 2 sales calls.
So far in terms of past, what you've had 11 discovery calls total so far. Yeah. Okay. And then how many of those 11 discovery calls have you gone to say yes to a sales call, whether they showed up, didn't show up, or whatever? How many of those have you had say yes to a sales call?
7.
So 7 out of 11. So you have a high conversion. So and out of those 7 people, how many have how many of those 7 people has it been like, okay, it's time to have a sales call and you've actually had a sales call? I guess what I'm asking is like, has anybody not showed up?
I'm looking. A bunch of people have pushed. It has been harder to like, it's been a little trickier, like getting a hold of these people than the FVC. I don't know, maybe because they're actually like working all the time. Um, there's been a lot of people like pushing. Like I have like 2 discovery calls to push from today and sales calls, but they're still interested, which is something different than the FVC because we experienced just like a lockout. You know, it was like they give the info and they're just like forget about it. But here it's like these people are committed to learning about it. They're just really busy.
Okay.
I wasn't trying to sidestep your question, no. Sorry.
No. So you had 7 so you had 11 people, 7 of them said yes to a sales call. Out of that 7, I guess my question is just like, have you had a single no call, no show is my question. Have you had a single one or no? If you had people that pushed on, that's okay. I'm not counting that. But how many of those are no call, no shows if you had any?
Right. We had like 3 what we have like DC no shows, which is discovery call no shows, and they're booking discovery call basically off the calendar page, right? Out of those, I converted 2 of them back to sales calls with a Loom. I like sent them a Loom of their website and their Instagram and how it could help them a little bit, and they both were like, "Yeah, okay, let's do this." So they got back and they're back on like being sales calls now at this point. So we had 3 no-shows net to the discovery calls. So far, everyone showed up to the sales calls, but we've only had 2 sales calls so
Okay.
far.
And are you saying that those 2 sales calls that you had were initially not going to show and then you got them to come back in through a Loom video? Is that what you're saying?
The next sales calls I have tomorrow are that.
Okay. So I want to help, but like I feel like I'm not clear on these numbers. I need to see the numbers and understand them before I can kind of like diagnose what the issue is. And maybe you already kind of like have an idea what the issue is. That's what I want to just get clear on, is like what is the bottleneck right now? So it's
I
like
can I share
is
can I
the
share a
bottleneck.
parting gift for Tony and Adam really quick?
Sure.
This is something I can give to you guys. This is a KPI tracker that I built for my clients, what they use, but everything's like automatically calculated, but you can custom tailor whatever you want with it. But I have all my calls here. Did they show up? Sale, cash contracted, collected, if there's a setter commission paid. I have all these different things that if you guys want this as well, so you can go week by week for your numbers. Everything's automatically already calculated. And then you also have an end of the year. So this is like crystal clear on all your numbers.
Thank you. And
Thank you,
before,
Rob.
because I know we're at the 0 hour, I have to leave in like 4 or 5 minutes to be on this sales call. No joke.
Okay, okay.
But I have a real quick side question, and I'm sorry to like pull a Danielle on you and be ADHD, but our gym client is now, they've got like 4 out of their last 6 leads are from like way out of like the side of the state right now, like Greensboro, Wake Forest, like an hour and a half to 2 hours away, and they're like bugging. I checked and everything's exactly the same. I haven't touched that shit since it started working. And it's one of them's 10 miles and one of them's 13 miles. And those places are like, let's say 70 to 90 miles out of the way. And my one hypothesis before, somebody came and visited Clayton that weekend, they caught the ad and signed up. But any insight there? I hate to jump around, but I just kind of need that question answered.
So really quick, so you just have to go inside your Facebook ads manager and make sure the setting, because Facebook kind of screws us up sometimes. Like there's lives in versus visited. As long as if you selected visited, then that could be the issue. If you selected lives in, then you're going to be fine. And if you selected lives in and they're not in that location, well, that means that they lived in that location and they recently moved. That's the only thing it could be.
Cool. Okay.
May have, hey Tony, write that down, check to see if that's the issue. If there's not an option there, it's because they got rid of it. I know in some campaign types or something, because I was thinking the same thing that he was just saying, but sometimes I think they like deleted that option. So what I would do if I were you is I would duplicate the ad set and then change the radius to like 10 miles and just relaunch it.
Okay.
I know you got to get going. What I'm trying to get at is if we had some more time, but like what I'm trying to get at is like I think it's like discovery call, sales calls, lead nurture, sale. That's what I'm thinking it is. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I was trying to diagnose. Exactly. Is it the issue the discovery call where you're doing a good job, but then it's not strong enough to get them to show up, or are they super actually busy? If I see this pattern over and over again, I'm kind of wondering like what is actually objectively going on? How do I feel about objectively just based off the numbers? That's what I'm getting at. So, is that the case? If I might hop on a sales call and then I'm not getting them to buy, is something going on there? That's what my gut is telling me. It's that. And it's like at this level, the free video commercial is the free video, but at this level, the content, the marketing, the sales, the lead nurture has to be exponentially better. That's just the truth. That's just the reality. And so sometimes, and that's why you have to add more content. That's what I did with like Aman. That's what I did with like Noah. We're adding more and more material in, and we're refining the discovery sales call. It took us like a month, both like Aman at least a month until he got like, oh, I'm starting to get the hang of this. So I just want to share that with you guys as well. That's my theory. If I had a little bit more time to diagnose.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, we're getting them on like the discovery call, and we're either losing them in the process of that discovery call with like a financial objection, or we're losing them in the sales call with the financial objection, even with like, in my opinion, a good explanation of like how their ROI works and how fast they get it back.
So it's I think it's maybe a little bit more, maybe you got to go a little bit deeper. Maybe you got to build more connection. Maybe you got to get them to watch some material. Maybe you got to get them more vested. Maybe there's a VSL webinar that they watched before, and there's something a little bit more that has to be done, I'm guessing. It's you probably got to add some stuff to there.
Cool.
We do have a super hot lead that Tony's talking to. He has a sales call on Thursday. She's in Queens, New York, but she's not opening until 3 months from now. Do you recommend us just to get a close, just trying to get her on a close for ad spend? She could go ahead and make the deposit, make the payment now. If she wants to wait 3 months from now, obviously our price will be probably 1,500, 2,500 monthly by then. But we really like to get this close and like be able to launch with her when she does open, because she's got everything locked in, she's doing everything right, and she's like set up to scale and to take on a lot of business.
She's at the bottom of like a 10,000 person apartment, like superplex in the middle of the Bronx and like co-op situation, and it could be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know the drill. Like, never not sell. Yeah, never not sell. And the way you position those things is, hey, get it in, and then this will, our official thing won't start for this time, but then that'll give us 2 months of a head start. We can give you. You have to phrase it and frame it that way. Like, for example, MJ, who you guys met, and then versus you guys didn't meet. I'm having a brain fart right now. Shoot, I feel like an asshole. Sorry, my brain power is like on E right now. But the newer guys that we had hop in, they don't start for another 2 weeks. And so the mindset is like, hey, you guys have 2 weeks for free. And so now it's like, take the time and energy to go through. So again, that's the kind of energy, is make people feel like they're getting a head start. And that's the trick. Instead of like, we're gonna buy this thing that we're sitting on the side. Like, no, you have to make them feel like there's so much more work to do, and that they are lucky to be in the position of having an extra 2 months with you. That's how you have to do it.
Because we'd like to start running ads for her like a month before she opens.
For sure.
Yeah. And so you can spend that time, say, hey, look, I'm so glad we can spend this 2 months. We'll get a content creator to go out there, get some content for you, XYZ. This way you don't feel rushed. This is a super rushed out process when we typically launch. It's a 7 days blitz. We can take our time with it and make sure everything is, again, that's the kind of languaging that you use to make this kind of stuff work. Does this help a little bit, Tony, Adam, or?
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Your initial question about the ads, did I answer that, or I didn't? Did I not answer that? The initial question.
I don't even
The one
remember.
where you had the three angles. Hey, when do we shut off ads? Did I kind of answer that for you guys? Which is like, my answer to you guys is just like sales and discovery calls and lead
I
nurture.
think Adam was almost like directed towards specific ads. Like, how long do we let one run until we kill it, right? And start anew. And I think that like we answered that together, like sort of privately, with the ones that we axed out of the ones that weren't working,
When costs double, when everything doubles, that's how you know you have ad fatigue. So if you're asking a question of like, why should we cancel something? Why should we kill something? The only time you should cancel or kill something is because you have ad fatigue, and and not even just ad fatigue, but like your return on ad spend, your profitability doesn't make sense. That's the only time. Remember, your profitability, what do you need? 25% cost per acquisition. Are you at 25% cost per acquisition? No? Okay, then you're fine. Let it rip.
Cool.
Yeah, 20% cost per acquisition. Yes. Okay. I'm at 25% cost per acquisition. That is the max I can spend. Has my cost per lead doubled? Okay, let's fix this problem. Other than that, like, you guys are chilling.
Cool.
I guess get ahead of it for sure, but like the 25% is kind of like, that's the part where it's scary.
Very cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else you guys got?
I think that's it, bro. I guess we'll see you at the end of next month.
See you when we see you. See you guys.
It's gonna be weird to have Monday nights.
No, we're not gonna know what to do with our time. We're gonna call you guys anyway. We're gonna hack this Zoom call and do some shit, like 2020 stuff.
Well, no, it'll just go back to before you guys hopped in, which is you guys would hang on the IG lives, right? You guys just can't come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of times, yeah.
True.
We'll troll those and like put meme stocks on it and stuff.
That works.
Cool.
Okay, guys. Well,
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anything else, guys? Anybody else?
Ethan, what do you got, man? Throw some memes out for the old man. What do you got?
Oh, I thought did you have to leave? Did you have to go for a call, or?
Yeah, it's pushed till 10 their time or our time. They're about 3 hours behind, so.
You got to get those. You got to get your meme picks out, bro. He got 15 minutes for you, bro.
All right. So the new, where everything's moving, you can look on DeFi Llama, where money's really starting to flow right now, is into Base. Base is the next hot narrative right now. Solana, the meme coins were absolutely fucking killing it. They still are killing it. But a lot of people that I'm like in groups that I'm in and networks and whatnot, a lot of people are moving into Base. So like Toshi was one I saw at like 10 million market cap. I'm like, I don't like Base. Like I don't trust Base. And a few other meme coins in that I saw super low. And then people started talking about it. And now a lot of people are funneling money into there. And the network fees are super cheap because it's a layer 2 on ETH. So it's like not even 50 cents per transaction now, which is, of course, a little bit more expensive than Solana, but tons of people are moving to Base. So when I get some more time this week, I put a couple $100 in. I'm just gonna absolutely fuck around with that money. And if I lose it, whatever. But there's so many people. I watched a couple videos in the past few days of these guys putting in like a couple $1,000s and just like overnight turning into hundreds of thousands of dollars on these memes. And it's literally sickening. The other day, sorry, what's up?
I was gonna say, do you think the Solana craze is already past and gone? I mean, I own Sol, but I never really got into like the Sol meme coin thing. I know it crushed. Do you think it's already dried up? Do you think it's old news now?
I don't think it's dried up. I like there every single day, if you go on like Dex Screener or Dex Tools, whatever, like there's still coins every single day that go from a $10,000 market cap to a 20 million market cap. Like that's going to be continuous for the entire rest of the bull market for the next year and a half, 2 years, whatever. Um, so no, I don't think Solana is burnt out, but I think a lot more money is flowing a lot quicker. I think people are being a lot more degenerate in Base right now. But yeah, like I still have a lot of money locked up in Sol and on like what's it called? Like the Telegram bot, like Bonk bot, whatnot. I have some money on those still. So like I think it's super, you can still make a ton of money, but like last week there was a really fucked up trend where everyone was using the N word and saying like all these like really like really unnecessary memes. And I know it put a lot of bad taste in a lot of people's, like there were swastikas, there were like Hitler meme coins. It was getting very, very, very out of hand, which I think left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, which I think is part of the reason people moved to Base. But yeah,
That was on Sol.
that was on Sol, yeah. And like I was like, there's no way, because I went on Twitter, on X, and someone had posted a wallet with just like the most fucked up meme coins ever. And so I went on Dex Tools and I looked at the top trending ones of that day, and it was like really weird. It was really hard to look at. So I know a lot of creators and a lot of investors were really upset about that. But yeah, no, like we can go on Dex Tools right now and you can look at people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars. People have made hundreds of thousands of dollars since this call started, just
Right.
from coins. So yeah, but I think you want to just follow where the money's going, and I think it's going to be a lot easier to make money on Base memes right now than Solana memes. But I mean, there's tons of rugs. 90% of them are rugs. It's hard to watch. Like you go on the 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute chart of like new coins that are coming out, and like 90% of them immediately crash, immediately rug. So like you really have to like get into like early, like a pre-sale with a meme that has a good audience, that has a lot of people who are interested in it, or just expect to lose all your money in when you throw it into, like, even I've been rug like 5 or 10 times, just like blatantly. I'm like, this shit's going up so fast. Like I just want to put like $50 in, $20 in, and 10 seconds later it just stops trading and you're like, oh shit, there goes that money.
Are you
But
trading really fast?
what's that?
You trading really fast?
No, I've traded maybe 20, 30 meme coins, like traded, like scalped. And the only time I've ever made money was following resistance on Fibonacci. That's the only time I've ever made money. The other times I just pulled out because I was down 20, 30%. Like, I don't want to lose this $100, $200. I have not made very substantial. I'm up on my meme plays, on my like degeneracy soul and base plays, but I'm not hundreds of thousands of dollars in the profit, unfortunately. I'm working on that. I'm getting there.
Well, thank you for the wisdom. I do need to run. This dude's hit me up and he's ready to talk now, and I want to get it over with because it's fucking 10 p.m. So
Sounds
it's
good.
been
Yeah, check
real. I hope you guys are still here in a month. I really look forward to catching up with everybody. Everyone's going to be more rich, and like crypto is going to be crushed, and we'll be 10 pounds thinner or whatever, or heavier, like whatever you want, you'll be. So thanks.
Thank
Thanks.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Tony.
Let us
Appreciate it.
know. Let us know how your call goes.
All right, cool. Be good. See ya.
Yeah. Whenever you do go hundreds of thousands in meme coins, I know I'm just not gonna see you on these calls anymore. So that'll be that. That's how I'll know. That's how I'm gonna know. That's
Like, sorry, Koshi. Fuck you guys. I'm out of here. No.
the moment you miss like 2 coaching calls in a row, I'm gonna just know, like, yeah, he just did 100x, no problem. It's cool. But yeah, guys, anything else? Anybody else want to go over anything? In the meantime, um, Mason, Aman, are you guys gonna buy crypto anytime soon? No.
Staying out of it.
Yeah, I got scared last time I talked to you. I was like, nope. I don't understand this enough.
That's fair. Okay, guys. Well, if there's nothing else, then that pretty much wraps up today.
Well, sounds good. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Mason, eat up those gains. Get that protein in. Yes, sir. Awesome.
We'll see you guys here next week.
Chicken chili, man. Chicken chili.
Delicious.
I'll see you guys.
Peace.